I like the nervous energy that is happening. I enjoy this.
What do you mean?
I enjoy
there's no nervous energy happening here. Everything is fine. This is two friends just hanging out and shooting the shit, and one of our reputations is not going to be irreparably damaged by the end of this call. I feel normal.
After a month of buildup, right? After all this trajectory, I feel an immense joy at clicking record and just seeing a ghost of a man on the other end of this call. And I don't know why. Listen, but I'm enjoying this.
January has been a long month and some stuff happened, and some of it you were there for. Some of it you made worse, and some of it you were not. But by the end of this podcast, all will be revealed, okay?
I suppose so. Man, when you, can't even talk, can't even, shoot the shit too much. Just hey, good morning. Okay, let's go. We got things to do.
Yeah. And for the record, dear listener, Wooly has been receiving some cryptic messages from me about, I guess, what way today will have to work.
Just vibes. A vibe check. Yeah. A vibe check was sent out. So,
Wooly, I went to Amsterdam.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's a good place. I've been there. Real fun.
So it's real nice place.
Yeah.
The vibes. It's kind of like. It's like a London, but with more goths.
Okay.
And it feels like kind of Bloodborne is just around the corner.
Oh, yeah. Especially, there is a church that is no longer decommissioned in the middle of the red light district, and it's that is a setting. That is a stage.
Yep. Yeah. A god has left this place.
Abandoned it.
But man, dude, it's a fucking cool country. I think it's Amsterdam's the city, and then Holland is the country, and Netherlands is the region.
Well, we called it the Netherlands as the country, but I mean,
yeah.
But then, and what's cool is too, once you go outside of Amsterdam too, there's the Pipe, which is another neighborhood that is a very different vibe. There's very different vibes when you go to the different spots, but it's really chill.
But oh man, it was just we just went for 2 days, and it was 2 days of just delicious food and just, oh my god, the Dutch do not fuck around with eggs. Let me tell you. And I was learning about. Have you ever heard of Dutch Muay Thai?
No, what's that?
So there is a strain of Muay Thai that kind of is predominant in the Netherlands and stuff, and it's basically Muay Thai with more of a focus on boxing. Because boxing isn't actually, punching does not happen a whole lot in Muay Thai, because they're very consumed with the elbows and the knees and the clinch and
the joints,
kicks, the big head kicks. And there's this strain of Muay Thai that apparently got big in the region, and it's Dutch Muay Thai, and it is so fucking cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, there is a little mystery I found that I wanted to bring to you and the good audience of this podcast.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I would describe myself as a Street Fighter's man. I'm an enjoyer.
Fightsman.
I'm an enjoyer of the Street Fighters.
Okay.
To the point that I would say I know an awful lot about its history. I've read a lot of books on it. A Street Fighter I would describe as my favorite video game series of all time.
Okay.
Which is why,
can't fault you there.
And Fox, if if you could insert this in the edit for the good people, which is why I was rather flummoxed by a certain image I found. Let me just grab it for you real quick. Wooly, have you ever encountered this?
Whoa.
If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, Wooly, what are you looking at here?
Street Fighter Online Revoltech figure Hu Fei.
You know, the famous Street Fighter figure, Hu Fei.
And it's from Street Fighter Online.
From the famous game Street Fighter Online.
And it's they're calling it a Revoltech. That's wild. Like,
I know, yeah.
Like, that is layers of, like, hold on, I might have missed this. Is there a chance that I was not paying attention to the Revoltech line as close as I should have? What is happening?
I don't, if there's a Street Fighter character, I have probably drawn fan art of them. I was flummoxed by the existence of this thing.
And they even have the poses on the back.
Yep.
The Revoltech poses, too. Those are some of the classic ones. Oh, my God. Yo, that is... Okay, there's a point you get to in your bullshit when it's like the effort gets so high that now that is the collectible. Like...
Yes.
That's incredible.
So the fact that you don't recognize this immediately fills me with regret for not buying it.
You didn't buy it.
I didn't buy it. Oh. And it's like, you can see it on, it's only like $22 or something.
Yeah, because again, like, this is a collectible now. There's probably like a couple hundred of these things in existence. Whatever the fuck is happening with that, like, Tekken robe. It appears to kind of be a Tekken character.
It looks, he does not look like one who perhaps fights in the streets, but perhaps for the control of some kind of Zaibatsu.
Like... And like with the purple as well, and the pants being very, Jin and Kazuya like there's a whole there's a whole vibe to that.
Yeah, but this was one of my few stops in Amsterdam.
Weird. Okay.
Have you ever heard the thing about Amsterdam where there's cafes and then there's coffee shops?
Yes. Yeah. Important distinction between the two.
Yeah, a cafe is where you go for a cup of coffee. A coffee shop is where you go to smoke some weed.
It's where you elevate.
Yeah, and one interesting fact I learned over there is that copyright does not seem to apply, because let me tell you, if you've ever thought, I sure would like to go into a Betty Boop themed weed emporium, that exists.
Oh, was that not an officially licensed Betty Boop product?
Well, I mean, I'll have to check the register, but I'm pretty sure that it's not.
Approved? Oh, well, yeah.
Although she is copyright free now, isn't she?
Over 100 years, I would have to imagine. If Steamboat Willie is doing it, then yeah. But yeah, they have, and those things are like, I would say there are as many coffee shops as there are cafes. Like...
Oh, easily.
There are quite populous.
Like, me and Michelle were walking around, and like they have all these like in a lot of the shops they have like these like waffles.
Yes,
on
Stroop waffles.
Yeah. But then they'll have like a packaged, like a Mars bar in its wrapping, cooked into the waffle. And me and Michelle were kind of bamboozled by this. But then when we realized, oh, this place sells weed, we were like, oh,
yeah,
that makes it make a bit more sense.
You're hitting a very specific like craving for sure. I don't know if you got to like go around like sort of the inner core a bit more, but like there's some really cool stuff where there's like boats that are docked that are like people living on those boats, like they're set up as house boats that are permanently anchored. And like going on the actual water too is really nice to kind of just get a view of like the city from below, the bridges and stuff like that. Streetcars, just fun walking, fun sightseeing.
Absolutely. You do got to be a bit careful of the cyclists. It's very much the kind of city where's the cycle lane? Everywhere, motherfucker.
Right.
And it's like that if you are not on the footpath, if the footpath has perhaps dipped a little bit, you're on the cycle lane and you need to fix that problem because these people got places to be.
Yes. And, having that much bike infrastructure is, awesome for a lot of reasons.
Oh, it's,
But you have to be used to that because it's not like especially in North America here, like car town, car lane, car city, so they have that set up quite nicely. Yeah, and and then of course there's the big elephant in the room that is lit with a red light. That elephant is under the lamp right now.
Let me do a little plants and payoff here, Wooly. Me and Michelle wanted to go see the Red Light District, and during the day it's pretty. It's just a bunch of buildings, really. Like we couldn't really see any indication that there was any stuff happening, and we're walking around, and then we just kind of stroll in front of this giant window, and I look, and there's just a semi-naked woman just gyrating in the window right there, and I'm like, wow, what an embarrassing thing to happen to me. Surely this will not be surpassed by a future incident, and definitely not this month.
Boy, wow. I did not expect to see that. Huh. Look at that.
Yeah.
There's some
Good
titties
Lord.
over there. Interesting. Anyway.
My Catholic-born sensibilities are going wild.
Yeah, and that just goes, That's quite the spot. I mean, MagFest was an adventure.
Well, we can get to that, but right now, none of it really matters, because I am Eyepatch Wolf.
I'm Wooly Versus, and
we are versus wolves! Versus wolves!
There's a lot of it's like I feel like the last recording and perhaps into the future, it's pulling back a slingshot for weeks.
Yeah,
you're pulling back a slingshot for a month.
I genuinely feel like it's been maybe 6 months since our last recording. So much shit has happened, and we got to hang out. We got to hang out.
Is that actually hair color, or is that just gray kicking in?
Oh, Wooly, I haven't dyed my hair in months.
Life has been lived. Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess real up top, just want to say to everyone listening, thanks to me and Wooly, the fucking response to the first episode was unexpected and mind-blowing, and we really super, super appreciate it.
You like the show?
I might say
thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys. We like making it. It was, we kind of said it was kind of just an excuse to hang out. We kind of forgot that an audience might come with that, and that's really, really cool. It does make me feel a little more nervous with some of the narratives that might protrude this episode, but
protrude.
Okay, look,
interesting.
Wooly, let's talk about MagFest, and then let's talk about MagFest.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
MagFest this year was an absolute fucking blast. I had the best time.
It was a really good time. Yeah. No, the ability to, again, just catch up with folks and see everybody, and I've said it many times, but it's the one I'm going back to every year. I'm going to Evo, and I'm making it to Mag, if I can, because just you walk around, music, arcades, indie games to check out, weird experimental giant hat controllers, wild shit going on everywhere, and just
I don't know about you, but I had several encounters this year where it's hand on the shoulder, John, turn around, it's someone from a con I haven't seen in 3 or 4 years.
Wow, cool.
And it kept happening, and it was so fucking cool. Met Magma again, who I haven't seen for ages. I met Godswill, who's just the coolest fucking guy, and it was a continuous stream of that. And it's a weird one, because I think this is my 8th MagFest, right? And in a weird way, MagFest is like my Silent Hill. It is that weird kind of ethereal place, and it's always a little different, but it's always kind of how I remember it as well. And it's also the place, it's also the con, Wooly. Without Magfest, I think it's fair to say that this versus Wolves might not be a thing.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be that tight, you know?
No,
that's where...
I think at one point we might have had a, like, kind of, oh, hey!
What's up?
Yeah, but Magfest, it was basically like, we actually met at the, and I've told you this story before, we met at my first Magfest. And I was just a civilian, and I just said, "Okay, Wooly, big fan." We talked briefly about that rapper who beat Daigo at Street Fighter,
Lupe Fiasco.
yeah. And then that was it. And then the next year, stuff had started kind of shifting, and we had that moment in our hotel lobby where you were like, "Oh, you're Eye Patch Wolf."
Yeah,
and it was like,
yes, yeah. After I'd seen the Bleach video, and we're like, oh yeah, okay, right. And so, and you said there was a photo of like the first time we met where I didn't know who you were.
Yeah, and it kills me that I cannot find that photo. But do you remember that second year? Then we had that ultra weird moment where we both got in the lift or and went up to our floor. Both got out of the floor, and then our hotel room was next to each other. And I was terrified that you were going to think that I was following you back to your hotel room.
It is a real concern from time to time when you kind of are like, oh, hey, what's up? And then that moment of like coincidence has passed. There have been events where you're like, okay, maybe I'm gonna go back to the lobby and hit the bathroom for a minute or something.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, I feel like, you know, sometimes you get someone, they're like, oh, hey, I patch Wolf, hey, verse, like we'll verse whatever, and it's cool and it's chill. And you're like, cool, and then like you kind of, you know, you say your exit line and you kind of do it.
Have a good con,
and then like, that's the point where like Rebecca would like to be like to me. So just so you know, they're still there, and they're kind of looking at their phone, but they're kind of looking over here, and you're like, okay,
cool, okay, all right,
cool. It's
probably waiting for somebody, but you know.
Yeah. But
then like as you're walking down the same hallway, I can only imagine again. You just be like, no, you don't understand. It's not. It's just like from the back, me like, And
I think like I even remember the exchange being like, oh, I'm not, and I like pointed at your hotel room, and I couldn't think of any way to finish the sentence. I was like, oh,
I'm not,
I'm not, because you were with Steph, and I was like, I'm not, like coming in here with you guys, like, and then I pointed, and I was like, this is actually my room, and then I can't remember, like, I don't know. But I can't. Then you were like, "Oh, cool!" And then you're like, "We should get some Street Fighter in." And I was like,
"Right, yeah." So
yeah.
No, all in all, good memories, you know, and that's the type of. I'm glad. Yeah, it's fun to be able to keep like, just going, and even if I'm too busy for like a tournament or for, you know, getting to see the whole event, just catching a beer with some people that you want to see.
I mean, that's what it's all about to me. Like, I actually go to very few events at Magfest.
Yeah,
I just love like seeing all our buddies, and like it was like I haven't seen James and Jill since the wedding.
Exactly,
and like just those guys are that's Lil V for people, the person who did the excellent title music for Versus Wolves.
Yeah.
And also for some wrestler called Kenny Omega. I don't really.
Maybe a couple of the people. Stuff's going on.
Who
knows? Yeah.
But like seeing.
No. Just to say the ability to sit down, clink beers, and just kind of just catch up on what's up, you know, because like especially since like a lot of us two are on very very far apart from each other now, you know, so you don't get it's not as easy as it used to be.
No, definitely not.
And then as well, what's nice is to be able to sit down and grab a bite of food. There's a lot of places that, you know, we kind of got used to that are around the venue. But sometimes there are recommendations to go a little bit further out from the venue to get some good eats. I believe one Gene Park of the Washington Post had a great recommendation.
Oh, we're here, are we?
Well, it took a minute to get there, actually. But a little ways out of town.
Why do I get the feeling, Willie, that you have been raring to tell this story?
I mean, like, as far as I'm concerned, is like a proposition was made, and he was like, "Hey, I know a great place to get some food. I hear they've got some good stuff. You should come check it out." It's
okay. Willie, can I just, when you told me that Washington Post reporter Gene Park wanted to grab a bite to eat, some might say that there was information left out of that. Because my thoughts was like, oh, cool, the Kirby Bayonetta hair guy on Twitter, he's awesome. Yeah, great. And then we did go for like a nice, we sat down, we had a nice bite to eat with him, and it was great. It was cool. There was also a second.
Yeah, we went a little. We wanted to go a little further into town, and so Gene recommended the Good Guys Club, the #1 rated strip club in the area, which apparently has incredible food. And
I feel like there was this moment where me and you kind of looked at each other and we were kind of just like, for the bit.
That's it.
For the bit.
You gotta go.
Get a fun story.
You gotta go. That's like that like putting out, you can't not go for the story, right?
Yeah,
you have to find out.
One thing I will say, Wooly, is that after this and various other events that have recently transpired, I think we need to be conscious of the phrase "for the bit" could fucking kill us. Okay.
On the gravestone, for the bit.
Yeah. Okay. Look, so it's like the final day on Sunday, and I have already had a weird day. Can I give a little lead up for where I'm at with this?
Please, because you give your side of this.
Okay, I'm going to give my side of this, Wooly, and I encourage you to interject whenever you feel like something needs to be added. Okay.
By all means.
So that morning had started off really cool. It was me and Sudden Mango, Rebecca, doing our Kishiba and Quan Chi cosplays. So we are just like finding like cool photo opportunities and stuff, and it was really, really fun. Met a bunch of people, but at some
Mortal
point
Kombat
that day,
Quan Chi?
No. Okay. Now that would be an interesting cosplay.
How about Quan Chi and Quan Chi? That'd be incredible. Anyways, all right, that's fine.
Okay. Look, maybe next year. I get an email from the MagFest staff, and they're just like, "Oh, one of our guests wants to meet us, or meet you." And I was like, "Oh, weird. Okay, sure." And I say it to Rebecca, and Rebecca turns around and she goes, "What if it's Yaya Han?" And I don't know. Are you familiar with Yaya Han?
Not quite.
Okay, Yaya Han is like the OG cosplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was the first one to build a big brand around cosplay. And me and Rebecca are very big fans of hers because back in the day, we watched a reality TV show called Heroes of Cosplay, a 2-season reality show about cosplayers attending conventions with all the schmaltz and drama of an early, like a mid-2000s reality TV show.
Okay.
And we loved this fucking thing.
Okay.
And so Rebecca said that, and I was like, it's not going to be fucking Yaya Han. It's going to be some chiptune artist, and they're going to be really sweet, and we're going to have a really nice time with them, and then we're going to say goodbye. And I believe that so strongly, I don't check my emails till later in the day, and then I get an email, and then I do at about 1 o'clock, and it's the MagFest staff, and they say, it's Yaya Han, would you be able to meet around 12? And we're like, I show it to Rebecca, and she just doubles over, and we're both like, what the fuck? This is the weird, like, this is one, like, in a career of weird things, Wooly, this is like a mind punch. Mm-hmm. This is like, what? So a bunch of back and forth anyway, and eventually we end up in one of the guest suites, and they bring Yaya Han in, and this is someone I've always thought, like, just really just so good at what they do, so, like, incredibly skilled, and has really, like, turned it into a business. Like, I respect the shit out of her, you know what I mean? And she comes in, and she sees me, and she gets, like, embarrassed. And she does what's that phrase? She's like, oh no, she says, like, I'm so Hakushi, or so, you know, the anime.
Oh, Doshio.
It's something like, she does some little joke like that, and I'm like, it's just the weirdest fucking thing. And which is insane for someone of that level of internet, you know. But look, we hang out with her, Queen Raya, and her husband for like an hour, and it's a very surreal, very weird time, but it's awesome. She's like, just she's a bro now, you know. She's a buddy, and it's like, that's what I love about cons.
That's great. That's super cool. Hey, yo, grats. Those are moments that are like, yo, you're doing something, you know.
Yeah, it was.
A couple people enjoy the stuff you do. They think it's kind of cool. And, like, it was a real, like, oh, like, I know this, I know when you see, like, the numbers next to the videos and stuff, it's like, you think you get past this, but it was a real, like, people, like, watch me, okay, you know? And, hell yeah.
But anyway, so, kind of stumble out of that, a bit delirious, a bit like, oh, I can't believe that fucking happened, and then realize how late I am for the date to the strip club. I have literally missed the bus, right?
Literally. Yes.
And I felt like there was definitely an air with people who were like, I guess he's not coming, you know.
So yeah, we were in touch in the morning a little bit, just like, okay, well, you know, we're making our way over, and you know, as we found out, Gene had called ahead, made arrangements with the manager, set the whole thing up, and got a nice little Last Supper lineup right in front of the main stage. So.
Okay, we can get to that. So I just jump in a cab and I head over to the Good Guys Club, right? And I like, my mind is kind of blasted from the morning. I'm like, fucking, life is, it's weird, you know? Like, I'm really kind of still reeling from that. And then I get to the Good Guys Club, and this is about, I'd say, 3:00 in the afternoon, right? Or maybe 4. And I look up at the panelled wooden building and the big gold letters, the Good Guys Club, and I realize, like, John, you have never been in a strip club.
Didn't you describe, like, Ireland strip clubs as just like a black shadow building that is like,
yes, I cannot describe to you
out of the way
the shame that radiates from Irish strip clubs, you know? Like, I have never been in one. I don't think I've ever seen one. I've probably walked by them because they are trying so hard to not exist. Okay?
Please don't.
It's just, and like, okay. So look, there's a few layers to this, Wooly. One, I'm just kind of shy, right? Like, I'm like, you might, like, if you meet me at a con, I know exactly how that interaction goes. I probably seem very, like, outgoing and stuff like that. But if I'm at a party with people I don't know, I am a bit like, oh, hey. Yeah, like it takes me a minute, you know? Number 2, raised super Catholic, okay? Like, I'm like, you can stop going to church, but the shame, you are where the shame goes to worship.
It ain't leaving anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was installed. Look, that was a shame installed from day one.
Look, you know, Irish Catholics, your blood technique is shame, okay? It's just, that's what's in you. And then, look, number 3, you know, like, I'm friends with a lot of girls, and you really learn to just not look at certain people a certain way, okay? You know, you get used to just not objectifying people, all right?
If I could just yak back some of the noises that were coming from you.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there, okay? So I walk in. So like, this is the worst fucking part. Right now, this is the part that kills me. So I think of all this shit, and I'm like, John, we're going to go in there, and we're not going to let on that we're nervous at all. No one's going to know, because we're just going to be fucking cool, and we're going to treat the dancers nicely, and it's just, this doesn't need to be a weird thing, okay?
The door opens and a Katamari of spaghetti rolls through the bar.
Okay, was it apparent that immediately?
Meatballs flying in all directions.
Okay, so like I get in and I don't really want to look at any, and this is probably my first mistake because I didn't want to stare at the dancers because that's rude.
Very right. How? Of course. Why would you do that?
That's absolutely not an expected part of their job that they're totally cool with.
Not at all what they want you to do.
So I am like kind of, and you know, it's light outside, it's dark inside. I can't really see straight away. So I'm trying to find you guys, which isn't hard because you're all spread out in a Last Supper arrangements in front. Okay, so, and I find you guys, okay? And I stand in front of you and I'm like, hey guys, so sorry I'm late or whatever. And immediately I can see, okay, so the full cast here was you, Steph, James, Jill, Foxcade, Oni, Reggie, and Gene. Are we missing any players?
It's on our side. Yeah, I think on our James, Jill, Foxcade, Gene, and then myself, you, Reggie. That was it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Oni, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Oni, yeah. So I would say that the moment I appeared, I felt like I was not greeted by my warm, loving friends. I was greeted with about 8 pairs of demon eyes, and you're all looking at me, and you all have this giant fucking grin on your face, okay? So I'm kind of trying to figure out, and immediately I start panicking, and immediately I'm like, oh, wait, what's going on? What's going on?
And the fact that you came later meant that we had a chance to acclimate and like
I didn't
and enjoy that moment.
I didn't think of that you guys were already okay. But then anyway, so you guys are kind of looking behind me and then looking at me, and I turn around and I am standing 2 foot from a bollock naked woman dancing on a stage, and I want to be careful here because I don't want to like get the podcast suppressed on YouTube or anything. I was not expecting vagina.
I believe your opening salvo was a nervous lean in and Wooly, there's a naked woman over there. Oh.
Okay, look, I have been with one person for 18 years. Okay?
Oh, fuck.
Half my life, pretty much. So,
yeah.
Okay, let me ask you, Wooly, at what point was it like apparent that I was maybe not acclimating well?
It was, again, around the lean in and the the table is so much more interesting than everything else happening around right now. And then that was when I feel like the bit was established. Everyone
so I think
looks and goes,
okay,
oh, I see how today's gonna go. Mind you, this is brunch time on a Sunday.
Yeah, I had not eaten brunch.
The wildest time to go to a strip club.
Yeah. So then anyway, Oni, that little gay demon, comes over to me holding the most terrifying thing he could be holding. 20 single ones. Look at you fuck.
Yeah.
And immediately I start being like, no. And I start going, you're like, no. And that's when you lean in, Wooly. And do you remember what you said?
What did I say?
You're the entertainment now, buddy.
Oh, God bless.
And
Oni's like, I'm not going to use these. Have at it. Make use.
Yeah.
You know?
And so then anyway, Gene offers me a slice of pizza, and I accept. And I take a bite of that pizza, and let me tell you, That was some exceptional pizza.
It was quite good.
It was quite good.
Food, that's the thing. The food was quite good. It was pretty solid. I got me a mushroom Swiss burger, and I was like,
Nice.
yeah. I'm like, this is doing it, you know? And the thing about it, too, is like, as we were discussing, like, the concept of, like, generally, food and sex happening are
Okay,
two
so
separate things.
This is the point. So right away, I'm kind of like, oh, this is good food. This is all right. I can do this. And then my eyes wander back to the stage, and I am staring at what I will describe as an extremely naked person.
Yes.
And immediately, the bizarreness of me chewing food and being able to see another person's nethers. And I'm just like, these two base things are usually separated by about 50 minutes.
It's a minimum. I mean, the conversation while chewing is being punctuated with the sound of asses dropping low and hitting the stage. like as a background punctuate, it was wild, right? Yep. And God bless. But, like, over this idea of the concept of the two being, like, usually not two things you bring together is where Reggie, who's just in his element, as comfortable as possible, floating through, is just like, he's like, I don't see what the big deal is. Y'all, it's real easy. Grabs the stack, has a slice of pizza, and he's like, hey, John, check this out. Sin, food, sin, food, sin, food, toss, bite, and everyone's like, ah, so good, you know, just so smooth.
So at some point you lean over to me and you start being like, John, those women are working and they need to be paid. And
they're doing a good job.
So the way, that's what you say to me. You say they're doing a good job. And for the record, the dancers, fucking awesome. Like, nothing but respect. Such, like the dancing they were doing was, like, really, like, genuinely physically impressive.
Core
doing
strength.
Crazy shit on pole. Incredible. Like, really, really impressive. And, like, in general, just in terms of, like, them being cool and being nice and, like, being friendly and stuff, A+. Like, just really, really nice. And I know people are like, well, it's their job. They're good at their job. Like, I nothing but respect for these people. Just to be 100% clear, this is all my problem. I understand that. Okay,
so that was around the time where it was like, all right, get up, we're doing this, and you're like, okay, hold on, let me just get settled in. Let me just get settled. Like, you're settled in. Let's go, you know. And
okay, just for the record, I was in the bar maybe 8 minutes at this point. Okay,
you're like, I'm still taking off my jacket. I'm like, we've been here. Let's go, right? And so get up, right,
And so the way it's meant to work, right, is you're meant to basically stand at the stage and basically hurl bills at the dancers, or right.
That's basically the deal. Is you do it in you know, and as it goes, and you do that until you know, recompense the good job, and then you're like, all right, you know, that's the good stuff, and. What ends up happening is I get up and I go up and, you know, do that and such. I'm like, John, you have something? And John walks up, takes the stack, taps it on the stage, and goes, good job, and then slides back to his seat. Well done. Good job. Well done. Yep. Good business.
And so I think this is the moment that pretty much our entire table really cops it and really gets that, like, and so, like, I'm sitting there, right? And I know that when I get really embarrassed, I do this thing where, like, it's nearly like a subconscious thing where I just go like this, and I cover my face with my hands. And one of the things I promised myself outside that strip club before I went in was that I wasn't going to do that. And I get back, and it's just that. And I look up, and everyone's just laughing. And then I look up at the stage, and sitting beside the stage, there's two dancers. And they're, like, you know, waiting for their turn or whatever. And I just see one of them go like this to the other. She goes like, And I was like, I'm fucked. Like,
You're
this.
doing the Smithers pose.
I know. I'm literally doing this Smithers pose.
Yeah.
So then, anyway, I'm like, no. I mentioned the Yaya Han story because my mind was already a little like a little blown before this had even happened. Okay. So then, anyway, I think, okay, I need a drink, and one of the girls comes over to me and she's like, "Would you like a drink?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what?" And I was like, "I'll take a whiskey and ice, please." And I give her a tip, and I give her the money for the drink, and then she just pauses, and she stands there, and she's looking at me, and she kind of squints a little bit, and she goes, "Are you super eye patch Wolf?" And just the maximum emotional damage, just complete.
Yeah.
Because, like, at the best of times, that's a surreal question. In this moment, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of the video game equivalent, and I fucking can't.
I say Lost Odyssey when a memory of 1,000 years comes back and a glass shatters, and like a mental guard break occurs, and
yeah, it's not often you can physically feel a core memory form in your chest. And at this point, I'm just broken.
Yep.
I'm just like, this situation has so thoroughly defeated me.
A bullet point has occurred on your timeline. Oh, yeah. Man. Yep.
And for the record, Wooly, you're having what looks like a terrific time at all this. At one point, you lean into me and go, considering you're into everybody, I thought you'd be better at this. And
what happened? Man, yeah, that yeah. So that in fact happened.
We also
I watched it occur.
There's also there's like about 2 hours of this in very. At one point, me and you go up to like the stage and you toss some bills, and I like tossing bills from behind your back. Like, I think to anyone watching, that would have looked like someone helping their like idiot son give money to strip.
If you have any familiarity with like a Marvel versus Capcom, when like one person's fighting and then someone jumps in as like a striker that just jumps in and goes bills. Okay, I'm out. Yeah, a little bit like that.
So the evening is winding down, and I'm like, okay, I think I've made it through this fine. And then a dancer comes over to the table, and it's like she's basically going around and I guess giving everyone like a little cuddle, and you tip her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And immediately I'm like, oh god, oh no. But then I noticed that with the guys, she's kind of it's like a fairly like, sorry, I tapped my mic, fairly like friendly like shoulder hug from behind, nothing too serious. And then with the girls, it's a little more intimate. They're maybe like getting placed on a titty a little bit. And so I'm like, okay, I think I might slip through here. I think this would be fine, you know. Wooly, what from your perspective then happened?
Well, it's just because we talked about how like it's like, yeah, there's usually a point where as well, like, you might, after someone performs on stage, they might come and talk to you and see if you're interested in a lap dance or going into something else, or so. And that's usually where like it's like, okay, you can very politely explain and such. And we're in a group sort of like party mixed company setting, so it's definitely a fun and loud raucous vibe. What So I expected at some point, like, yeah, someone's gonna come over and like you're gonna interact and such. The way it kind of looked to me was a shark smelled blood in the water and realized.
And just for the record, this is the girl who earlier looked at her friend and was like, and shook her head. Right. So,
and just kind of and realized like exactly what we were dealing with here, and just locked on Z targeting, and it was like, hey, came over, and I mean, I don't know if it was a hug so much as it was a glomp. You know, it was a full like, yeah, what's up? And a little bit of a conversation occurred, I believe.
I don't know if it was a glomp as much as it was a just ticket to Boob City.
Yep.
Unrequested. And she can immediately tell how like embarrassed I am, and just like so much further. And so like, and like it's just. Oh, okay. So she's basically like doing the whole thing, and then she's like, "Would you like to come to the back?" And I'm like, "That is very sweet. No, thank you. Here's a generous tip. You're very good at your job, you know." And she's not letting go, and she leans over and she gives me like a little kiss in the cheek, and she's like, "Do you want me to be your girlfriend?" And I say, in full volume of everyone, I have a wife and we play PlayStation together.
That you do. That you do.
That I do. That I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you know, and I think that was understood. Message received.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And you know, she continued towards the other side of the table, where Punch Mom and Jill and James were, and just basically charmed everybody. You know.
Just to be clear,
yeah,
she ruled.
Yeah,
she was awesome.
You know.
Yeah.
And I was like, and at some point, I remember I was just like, well, these are some very attractive people, are they not, John? And I believe your line was, "I'm not made of stone, Wooly."
I forgot about that.
Yep.
So look, okay, here's what I'd say. That was easily top 3 most embarrassing things ever for me. But I will say, I'd never been to a strip club, and to me, the vibe, despite everything I've said, it wasn't like super seedy or like feel bad. It was just kind of silly and fun, and I'm an idiot who cannot handle it.
At some point, you came back over and were like, because you were getting going for another drink, and you came back over and were like, "Yeah, dude, I think she actually recognizes you too." And so, and she was like, "Yeah, do you like?" You were basically like, said like, and I was like, "Well, what the fuck?" At which point, then it was like, okay,
yeah, because I was talking to her, the girl. This is the girl who recognized me, and I was like, yeah, no, we're here, and I think I said something about you, and you were like, "Yeah, he plays games, right?" Or it's something like that. I was like, "Yeah, he does." And then I say that to you, and your eyes go, I would say, a little wider.
It was baffling.
Than perhaps they should.
Baffling.
Because there is this twist to this story.
Well, as we're leaving, you're very generous, and as you do when you meet a lot of people, you're like, "Hey, would you like to get a photo?" You know, all that. And at the time, the shift had changed, so the manager had changed, and so like as we were getting the Uber back in, there's the point where they went back in, and she came back out and was like, "Oh yeah, let's take a selfie," you know, and we took it, right? Mm-hmm. And then we made our way back to the MagFest area.
Yeah, so then we head back to MagFest. I head back to my hotel room because I just need to chill out for a bit. Rebecca, like, I get back to the hotel room, Rebecca's there, and she's like, "How is the strip club?" And I was like, I'm gonna go to sleep for like 40 minutes, and then we can get a drink and talk about it. And I tell her basically the whole story, and she rips me apart. Like I don't think I have ever seen her so delighted. She's like, John, I can't believe you have so little riz. Like, that's what she tells me, you know. And like it's like, okay, look, here's the thing, right? If like a beautiful person, a beautiful scantily clad person comes to sit and talk to me, I can talk to them no problem. It's not a fucking thing. I'm not used to that very specific environment, you know? like when the girl was like, "Are you Super Eye Patch Wolf?" That was like immediately incredibly shocking. But then once I kind of got over the shock, it just turns into a fan interaction, and it's fine, you know. But
God bless Rebecca to just keep you in your place. To just
you caught that, did you? You caught that she does that a little bit.
The regulator.
Yeah, the regulator. Oh my god. But yeah, so we go to a party that night, and you know we hadn't been there too long, and Foxcade, our editor, comes up to me. Yeah, hey Fox, and he comes over and he goes, "John, I have something to tell you," and I'm like, what? And I'm thinking like a revelation for Fox, like I don't know, like maybe he's figured something out about himself he wants to share, or just, you know, like just a general like, oh, you know, I got something to tell you, like some stuff's been going on, like whatever, you know. And then he's like, I paid the stripper to do that. And immediately I'm like, you paid her to fucking glom onto me like that? And I say that, and I'm like pissed. I'm like, Fox, that's like borderline not okay. That's really fucked up. Like, you knew I didn't want that. And then he's like, no. I paid her to say, "Are you Super Eye Patch Wolf?" And then I'm like, what? And then I look around the room, and I look at every single one of you, and I realize you are all in on it. Okay, so there's a bit in Full Metal Alchemist where Hawkeye confronts the world government, basically. Is it Hawkeye, the blonde
Riza?
girl? Yeah, Hawkeye. Yeah, Riza.
Yeah.
And she says, I have figured out this about this important person. And the reaction of the world government is like, "Oh, yes, we're aware that that is the case." And she's like, oh! Because she realizes how bad the situation is.
Yeah.
That is how I felt in this moment. All my friends, who I love, all did this to me.
And so, if I may cut, may I have this dance to interject here? If we rewind back in time, there is a moment somewhere between the good job, well done, and the sitting pizza, right? Where I get up to go to the bathroom. I'm just having a great time, enjoying as again, you have become the main attraction. The dynamic of the entire encounter has changed, and you know, God bless, Gene is just doing a wonderful job being strip club Jesus. You know, sitting at
and also Gene's the best. Gene rules. I love that guy.
Incredible, such a cool guy. You know, and when I get up to go to the bathroom, at which point on that side of the table, basically I get like paused, and Foxcade is kind of like, you might want to sit back down. Actually, you might something cool might happen. And I was like, oh, okay, and then resat down. So I was like, all right, and then all that happened, right? And so it goes and everything that as it happens as described, and then I do go to the bathroom afterwards, and as I do, Reggie's also going as well, and we're just like, holy shit, that's nuts, etc., whatever, because just before going up, they basically like he let us know like, oh yeah, that something's going down, you know, and as we're in the bathroom and I'm washing my hands and leaving, I'm like, so like, do we just break it to him like in a little bit? on the way out, how do we do this? And then Reggie goes, let him sit in it. And I was like, oh shit. Oh no. It's like that.
And it was like, you know, I had recovered, like, I was no longer KO'd after that event, and I was like, the gray damage was slowly forming back. And then Foxcade tells me that, boom, and I'm stunned for the rest of the night.
And listen, like, it is wild that, like, we are all complicit. We are all complicit. The heads up was given that the ball was rolling. Just sit back and watch. Enjoy the show. The idea of of the reveal coming hours later, like with the energy levels where they were, is nuts.
Yeah.
Like, we had a whole ride back and chat and everything while you just went through it, you know, and it was like,
yep.
Okay, I guess it's gonna go down.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, what I will say is, like, I think I was the butt of a lot of jokes. I got that, you know, it was all love, and, like, I appreciated even at the party afterwards, everyone was like, you're alright, like, you know, hope that wasn't too much or anything, and I was like, no, like, for as intense as that all was, this is a story we will be able to tell for a long, long time.
I mean, it certainly was enough of one prior to that, but for what...
Here's my question, Wooly, right? The bit with the "Are you Super Eye Patch Wolf?" I think what I said to you afterwards was something like, that was kind of like throwing a stick of dynamite before Hiroshima.
It's Godzilla -1. It is what it is. It really
it's like,
is.
at some point, did you be like, oh, John's not doing so good in this strip club. Perhaps the extra layer of manipulation was not necessary.
Just the like KO, like continuing the combo on the body, you know? Yeah, it was nuts. And look, to be fair, right? When Foxcade saw the opportunity, there was a red twinkle, like ding! Like, he's like, right there, that's the chance, right? He went for it. What I think happened afterwards, as he was describing it, was we probably all were not ready for how professional and insane they are at what they do. And she was so good that she came back over and, like, really sold it when it happened. It wasn't just like, aha, there's the bit, haha, and then we move on. She was like, yeah, no, totally. And she's like, yeah, I got, like, a brother who, like, plays and stuff, and then came back, and then when you mentioned the thing about me as well, it's like, oh, he plays games. So it's like, did she go look it up to check? Or
I don't know. I don't. But, like, especially when she said it to me, it wasn't like a, are you Super Eye Patch Wolf? It was like a full on pause, little squints. Are you?
Right?
Are you super? And it was like,
and then continued explaining it to the other side of the table, who had set the whole thing up and went, yeah, no, because, you know, the gaming thing is something that I know people that, and I was like, so when she, like, that whole thing was like, what is happening, you know? So yeah, I think that's a bit of it too, is like the snowball lost control at some point. You know?
Yeah, at some point your monster became self-aware.
But
look, it was a fucking amazing time, and it was great, and, like, it was so cool just to see everyone in general at MagFest, you know. It was awesome. It was like, I am doing everything in my power to head back next year. And like, also just, like, little shout out to Rebecca Sudden Mango, who was not present at the stripper thing, but boy did she want to go after I told her about that. But she's kind of like, she serves as, like, a sort of semi bodyguard / make sure I get to wherever I need to go on time presence on those trips. And she, if you want to see me and her Kashiba and Quan Chi cosplay, you can find on sudden.mango on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the regulator.
Absolutely. Great hang all weekend for sure.
So sick.
So yes, I think that sums up the Eye Patch Wolf side of the great strip club caper.
I can't wait for this story to follow me for the next decade.
You've even got the play-by-play in like text form, of of texting her at the time. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I messaged her that one of the strippers recognized me, and she texted me the fucking legendary reply of, remember one time you described to me that your life is like a cosmic joke? God's still laughing. Unbelievable.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I guess onto a little bit of business now that we've had our pleasure.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
Foxcade, you are fired. Don't worry about finishing editing this episode, buddy. Just wanted you to find out like this. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Mid-edit. Oh, fuck. God damn.
Oh.
Yeah. So, the definitely the plan for the once a month, we did stumble a little bit on that almost immediately, but I think release schedule wise, we're going to be aiming for Versus Wolves episodes on the last Friday of every month.
The last Friday of every month. The stumble this time was purely my fault, and we will get to it.
Okay.
When we get, but yeah, you can expect Versus Wolves last Friday of every month from now on till either me or Wooly dies.
Yeah, someone said like, "Yo, real ambitious putting 3 digits in the title of a monthly podcast." I was like, "Damn, that's true." But
he's right. He's right.
Pointing at the WrestleMania sign with that one. All right, but so that's what the schedule is going to be. So last time, as we get into our recommends and such, I did initially, before pulling out all the stops, want to recommend you check out Gunbuster. And
I believe you got Combo Breakers.
I got Combo Breakers.
Our first ever Combo Breaker.
The first recommend.
Do you want to explain the Combo Breaker system, Wooly?
Well, quite simply, we don't know what each other has and hasn't seen, so our recommends are for the things that we think are good to recommend, but also there's a chance that territory might already have been covered, in which case a combo breaker will occur.
Now, Wooly, what perchance might happen if one were to get combo breakered and then recommend a second thing that the other party has already also seen?
Then that's 2. And if we dare go beyond.
Are you suggesting, Wooly, that there's the combo breaker, there's the counter breaker, and if a person were then to suggest a third thing?
Well, I think what's best let's just keep it.
I think this has been a joyous and fun podcast so far. So all I'm going to say is there is a stipulation for if someone recommends a third thing that the other party has already experienced, and it is.
John,
I don't think we should. There's not words in the human language to describe how awful.
I think it'd be best if we just.
No, you're right. It's a little. Right. I apologize, everybody.
Okay. We're going to take it one step at a time. So I got hit with that. I got hit with the combo breaker.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and then you went, I already saw that, and we're like, yeah. And I was like, okay. I came back afterwards. I'm like, John, can we talk about Gunbuster anyway? And you were like, sure, man. Because I'm like, God damn, that shit was awesome.
Gunbuster rules, and something I have only consumed in maybe the last year and a half.
Ooh, I got in at the buzzer. Wow. Okay.
So you were actually not that far off.
Oh my God, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about Gunbuster for a minute. And so that being said, this is an excellent show. It's very short. It's a 6-episode series, and you can catch it, and it's been recently dubbed as well with an excellent.
Oh, really?
Dub. Yeah, there's a new dub available for it that's really good. So there's obviously full spoilers in this discussion, and there's a good amount of stuff to spoil about this show if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
so.
and we would really encourage you, like, unless you really, really, really just like do not give a shit about mecha, even if you kind of do, like, you should go watch it. But like, we'll drop the time on screen. But it's highly recommended from both of us if you have not already seen it.
So that being said, full spoilers in the upcoming discussion, and if you want to skip past that, you can.
Starting
now.
Before I watched it, Wooly, I actually was talking about science fiction to the friend I watched it with, and I said, you know what really scares the shit out of me? Time dilation.
Yes.
I think the concept of time dilation, that you would get on a spaceship and fly to fucking Mars, and then you realize that everyone you know is like an old person that's like 40. There's something not even soul crushing, soul wiping about that to me.
The thing, like when you fuck with time, like there's not a lot of examples. There's a couple examples of like doing it in a the ways that we've seen other movies handle it. You've got your Back to the Futures and such, but like the ways that you can show how it affects everybody by just placing the camera in the right place is incredible. There was a short film called Primer, which is really awesome as well, that like messes with time in an interesting way.
I've seen that too.
Right?
Yeah.
And it like you gotta scratch your head and kind of stop and think about it, because really when you mess with time, it's all about where the camera is. And what Gunbuster does with that is so awesome. And even before it gets into that, so Gunbuster is well, here's the thing with it, right? The director of it was his first work. A little unknown fella by the name of Hideaki Anno.
Wooly, as you know, anime is my territory, so I'll drop the deep lore here to the real insight. The director of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh my god, the obscure facts.
That's how you pull the big books, okay? You know.
So yeah, before Eva was Gunbuster. Aim for the Top Gunbuster. And it is one of those shows that like you can definitely get a vibe for the way the sci-fi and like very pure emotional human story is happening, with techno jargon going real thick and heavy in the background and in the foreground. The opening of one of the episodes is just this insane full like research paper written up that you're describing like how time is affected and the ways that they interact with time distortion and the science of how it works in the show. And it's going into like, again, description of particles that we don't understand, and using symbols for just insane advanced mathematics. And at the end, the signature is signed off one of the characters in the show, you know? And you're like, oh wow, okay, it's this type of thing. We're just going in on it.
But it's like there's all that. Then there's also this super like poppy bubblegum story of a young girl learning to pilot a mech.
Yes, running through high school in the mech, doing little air jabs, and like got the headband, the sweatband on, and is just like, you know, showing up in class and like, oh no, there's the popular girl. How am I gonna, you know, like find my place? And I hope I can just do a good job. I want coach to notice me, all that stuff. And like, it's so earnest. The music when the intro starts is just the theme of like, again, like young love is in the air. You know what I mean? And it's so like pure with that. And it's also this insane, super real hardcore mecha thing going down. And you'd think they'd clash, but they complement each other so beautifully.
They really do. And like, I think you use the word earnest, and like I'd agree, because like I think one of my favorite things about it is like you can clearly tell that this is from a team that really, really love all this shit. Mecha, space battles, anime. Like there's a real otaku-ish thing to it.
Yes.
But in a really positive way, because like even the way the shots are composed, you can feel like so much fucking love.
Yes.
This little bit where this one robot like points her finger and strikes a pose. So much love has gone into this one frame, you know?
And because it's a short series as well, like, yeah, they just there's a lot of There's some moments where like it's just so lovingly detailed, exactly with like the animation quality. I feel as if like you can almost see the split or the aspects of Anno's personality in a way, because Evangelion is what we know, but the show that he worked on right after that was Kare Kano, His and Her Circumstances, which is just a high school love story. And it's almost as if those two crashed together, create Gunbuster. If you know, in a way, it's the two halves split apart into these two separate things, but Gunbuster's the original for that. And
I have never watched Kare Kano. Have you?
I did. I really liked it.
Okay, I need to, because like honestly, when I think of Eva, like the shit I love is like the scene in the apartment where Asuka comes home from her date and she's like, "Hey Shinji, you want to kiss me?" And like that was all. I remember watching that as a teenager, being like, "Oh fucking whoa, this show's insane," you know?
Yeah. No, Kare Kano's it's very earnest, and it's just a pure like relationship tale, happening in high school, and it's really just focused on little moments like that and the little misunderstandings and the way we communicate with each other, when Gunbuster like has these moments too, there's also it invented a lot of really cool things. It takes inspiration from a lot. Like it was I want to say Aim for the Ace was a tennis show from back in the day that heavily inspired the tone of this, with like trying to impress the coach and stuff. There's like moments where like when Noriko, the main character, is like standing up for herself in the beginning, where she's like, learning how to pilot properly, and then like takes the limiters off to be like, okay, I'm going to take off the autopilot. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to feel it. I'm going to just sense it myself. Kind of like the coach's advice from earlier. And like, there's a shot of the coach who's basically Clark from King of Fighters. Like that's the design. It's cap
just
and
the
shades.
Reflective sunglasses. Yep.
And like literally his reaction to seeing her mech go dark, where she's just going to use her senses to fight, is just the reflection off the glasses going ding. it's like he has not emoted. His sunglasses are the emotion, like amazing. The Inazuma kick, right, is like the
it's insane, and there's some good ones.
And whenever you see someone doing that downward angle rider kick style move that slides on the ground like that happens in Eva, that is straight coming from Gunbuster, I want to say Gunbuster as well, like invented, like some people basically claim that this was like the invention of fan service as a concept in a way. Like there's some moments in that in particular that are known for like I think they called it the Gynax bounce.
Oh yeah, There's some titties bouncing.
That happens, and it's also interesting too in the sense that like there's times where it's doing that as fan service, and then there's times where it occurs where it's like, that's not fan service, that's just a very dramatic moment that happens to have nudity in it. It's quite interesting.
I know the exact one you're talking
right?
about.
Yeah. And so you kind of just, it's the story is happening and it's moving so quickly, because with each episode, like she's growing up a little bit more. It's that coming of age, but as she's coming of age, the usage of the technology in the series is making it so that like the world around her is moving faster, and
so basically I can't remember. I think it's just straight up time dilation. Maybe there's some stuff with like one of the engines she's using or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But like basically there's one bit where she goes on a mission and she realizes that this mission is going to push her forward like 3 years in the future or something like that. And so everyone will have aged, but for her, I think it's only a very brief period of time.
Yeah. So the first time it happens, she goes on a mission. It's going to be a couple months to go out and like, because there's a threat to Earth, and aliens that have to be stopped, and the way when you depart, the further you get from Earth, the more that's going to affect you. So like at first they go out and they all have a couple months away before they come back, and that time starts to desync, But then there's a point where they encounter a rogue ship that is like traveling light speed in the distance, and it's the ship that her father was lost on, And it's when she's like, I'm going after that ship, and they're like, no, don't do it. And she's like, I gotta know, that she breaks apart and goes further in, and that is immediately time lost from the origin point where they were, much less the Earth further back, you know? So years get lost, exactly. And then you get that 2-3 year period where she comes back, and then you get to just see...
I don't know, like, do you get that thing, even, like, thinking about that, like, thinking at the idea that you could make a move and 3 years are gone.
Yeah.
You've been gone for 3 years. Do you get that, like, just chest tightness of, like, that's fucking tough?
It's
like,
crazy, man.
Yeah,
And they go through it, and this deals with that. She comes back, and her partner are the only ones in their class that never graduated. And, and they're all in college at that point, but they're like, we'll have a little ceremony for you because you guys got to get it. But like everyone else is, her best friend, who was like, you know, her age from the start of the show, is now in college and starting to get into the professional world, you know. And
I think there's an element of it, and like this is always a theme that hits me really fucking hard. If you engage with something enough, you start losing normal people's experiences. So if you dedicate yourself to becoming like the best fucking bowler in the world, you start having these experiences where like, well, I can't do this, and I can't do this because I have to fucking bowl. And this is a very different thing, but it is that element of starting to realize that you are in a different lane than everyone else, you know, and that people are progressing with their normal lives and normal things are happening, and meanwhile you are on this weird kind of other path. Does that make any sense, or do I sound like a lunatic?
And when you check back in with your friends who you haven't seen in a while, it's like time has moved in speed. It has fast forwarded because whoa, what happened? Oh my God, you have a job now. What's going on?
Or you have a kid now? Like, yeah.
And so the next outing goes, and it's like, oh, you are the best at this. You are literally the only one who can pilot this suit. And like when it comes out and it's doing the pose, Gurren Lagann has like absolutely like has taken tons of inspiration as well, and you can see it with the way it reveals itself. But she is the gunbuster pilot. She is the one that can do this, and like. Coming back out after these insane missions to find out, forget the college age. I'm married. I have a child. Here's my daughter. We were best friends as a kid, and now
she's the girl who has like aged is like the bully, right? It's like she was the asshole.
Oh, there was a couple of them. They age up.
Okay,
the bully ages up, but her best friend ages up as well. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And she has that little kid, and you're like, oh man, and like it's like you said, it's like if you're just in your lane, if you're just focused on this, you can watch life pass you by, you know? And so she's coming back and interacting with this world that is getting further and further away with what she's doing. But like there's a point too where like at first she's journeying out there with her upperclassman, right? Her
kind of rival / love
best friend is something.
You know that super soft like. That super soft, like, I think that relationship is kind of whatever you want it to be.
Soft Yuri touching, Like, but like it is definitely there's a dynamic, and there's a point where like they're aging up at the same pace because they're going out on these adventures together while you know the world is moving forward. But then there's a point where she has to stay behind, you know, and so that one person that you did have that was in sync with you is now starting to be lost as well, and so you start to see her become an adult.
That's fucking real. Like that's hard. And, you know, it's
and it just builds to this point where like there's the ultimate threat approaches, and they are in a place where her upperclassman, her senpai, has to come back to Earth and is working and basically revealing all the things they've discovered while out there, you know, on the Buster machines and everything they've learned, and helping the world advance and everything while Noriko remains out, you know. And so like you get that perspective at the point where like, okay, the next time there's a chance for Noriko to meet everyone here, her best friend is fully an adult, has lived a life, has established all of that, knowing that her friend from years ago is out there. That childhood friend, that kid that she had, is now the age that the mother was when they were best friends. And for her, it's just this whole story is taking place in a matter of months, you know? And it's just so like, oh my God, it's that feeling of like, where's my life? Where is it all going, you know?
Yeah.
And all of this is, of course, happening to the backdrop of just an incredible mecha sci-fi battle. A cool robot doing cool things.
It should go unsaid because we're talking about Gainax. The battles are fucking incredible,
right? Just grabbing, using all the abilities of learning to pilot, doing it all, and and
like seeing her go from not being able to walk in it to like the most insane, letting go all these like massive multi-stream missiles and ripping these aliens apart. The
Atano circus, the lasers in all directions, all that, every light in the enemies in the skies is an enemy type of thing, and then bringing it back to the again, a focal point with like their coach and the relationship that the coach has with her friend later, and then all of that builds and builds, and there's a point where they basically have no choice left but to like go out into the furthest reaches, and there's a final gambit that Earth has in order to survive. And her, as that same high school kid, graduated, now, and then a friend who's now a full adult that lived a life, are like, we're gonna go out there and pilot one last time, and they do it. And what it means is going to the core of where all these of where the aliens were coming from and such, and it's further out than anyone's ever been. And the way that finale plays out is there's just a sequence of like essentially like manga panels almost is how the final war is displayed, and like over the classical music and such, and
it's beautifully done. It doesn't feel like a compromise or a production save. It's just awesome.
It's incredible. And there's an understanding that it's like, well, we just have to give it all up, right? We're doing this so that we can just ensure the future survives, and it's not about us. Like it's a full self-sacrifice, but there's always that chance that we can escape, and if the life support systems last, we'll try to float back home.
Yeah. And they don't even know how the time dilation is going to affect them, and they don't know that there's going to be a home to float back to.
And so you kind of just get that like moment of like the ship is floating, and I think they're approaching what used to be the Earth, and
there's the text, isn't there it's like 13,000 years later.
So they float back to a dark globe, and it says 12,000 years have passed.
So, do you remember I said earlier how we'd had a completely separate conversation about how time dilation scared me? I just look at my friend and I just crumple. I'm just like, oh!
They survived, and they're floating back in the broken gunbuster, approaching the Earth, and the Earth is just a empty black sphere. It's dead. And then lights from across the entire continent light up to spell out the words "Welcome home." And they can see that the entire planet Earth knows about them and has been waiting for them for 12,000 years. And they're just saying in Japanese to them, "Welcome back."
So it's crazy, right? Because like,
oh my God,
how many pieces of fictional media do you watch where the world is saved? Like, loads.
Fuck, yeah.
And whenever we get to that point of like the world is saved, I always feel like, to me, it's like there's this kind of like, and now we're at this point, and now it's over. Now I can go do what I want.
They lived happily ever after.
Of course, and we were always heading to this point, and we always got here. This is one of the only things I've ever watched where I really felt like, holy fuck, we made it.
We made it.
That's
it.
And like, to me, it's this genuinely kind of profound thing where it's kind of like, you just do what you can, and humanity will endure.
You're just hoping. You're just hoping.
Yeah.
And and they see that and they cry, and then the credits roll, and you're like, I'm like, oh, my chest is exploding with feelings at that.
It's so beautiful. Like it's
I couldn't believe
really
it.
fantastic anime.
And it's so it's short and sweet to get to this point. That's it. So couldn't recommend
6
it
episodes.
enough.
Yeah, really, really good shit. And even if you've listened to this spoiler and now you're intrigued, just go watch it.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's super cool.
You're still gonna have a great time.
That's it. And again, the brand new dub that I think that's on Crunchyroll. So is like it's a brand new dub from last year that is a really good dub. The quality is amazing. Like it wasn't. I think there wasn't one up until recently, right? So. Check that out and just it's a great journey. And then I don't know if you have, but ever seen Die Buster?
I've watched a few episodes.
Okay, so Die Buster is another series that is there's it's a spiritual successor in ways that is also worth checking out if you happen to like Gunbuster as well. And no need to go into that, but yeah, some cool stuff. A good recommend. Cool.
Speaking of cool stuff, Wooly, it's time to battle.
Or die. Okay.
Recommend or die.
All right. Well,
okay.
We did promise the world's most powerful book club, and the month has passed. Let's see how it's gone. So yeah, I guess I'll start with the baton over here. Thank you for indulging my Gunbuster.
A pleasure. So for people who just to catch us up from last podcast, Wooly was recommended Fear and Hunger on Terror and Starvation mode, and I was recommended attend an Irish fighting game event in person.
There we go. Oh no, Wooly, real life. So, Fear and Hunger. As I've come to learn, affectionately called Funger, I believe.
Funger, yes.
Affectionately called Funger. This, I knew that you were playing it, on regular iPatchWolf, and so it had been in your orbit, and then I remember we talked about it in Portugal, and you introduced it to me, and it was definitely like, I'm like, okay, this is in the current John zeitgeist, so in some ways, like, I should have seen it coming, and yet I didn't, and so I decided to jump in there, and for what it's worth. I said once I did, let's see what this is about. Here we go, because I've heard a lot about this fucking game. I did hit the button and I did click record. So there is some footage which I'm gonna throw over to Foxcade, who can hopefully use liberally as we go through this, because I did just capture myself trying this out. Okay. So you said. I believe you were like, give it a shot, and you kind of went like, see if you could. You basically were. You said like, the goalpost is Crow Mauler, right?
Yeah,
that was kind
of. Now, with these recommends, basically, we never want to enter a situation where either me or Wooly are like super stressed about hitting a certain point in a game, because we want this to be fun, and we also have other shit going on, But I gave Wooly the rough, goalpost, get to meet Crow Mauler.
That was kind of the deal. And
did you achieve that, Wooly?
I did.
Okay. You know what I'd love, Wooly? Do you want to tell me how your first run went?
Well, I started up the game. Fear and Hunger 1. I created an Outlander.
Okay.
I picked an Outlander for my class.
The John Cena build.
Is that what it was? I see.
Yep.
I then went with the bow and arrow.
Interesting. Okay.
At the weapon choice. Again, no, and the thing is to understand is all I know about this game is where the camera is placed and that the combat system is an RPG combat system. I don't know anything else except for it's fucking hard. So yes, I noticed terror and starvation mode was not. In fact, there was the normal. There's a hard underneath that. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, we'll see what's going on here. Seems brutal. I went with Outlander bow and arrow. When the time came to choose how to survive, I did cannibalize my crewmates.
It's a good call. That's the build.
I did do it. And when asked whether or not to take the artifact of Vinland, I did take the artifact. So
okay, also a good call.
Okay. Lastly, I chose to stock up on food because the name Hunger is in the title, so I'm assuming that's going to be a pressing matter. And that was it.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So I just kind of took it from there. And game start. Checking out the horse, beating the dead horse. Hey, look, we're beating a dead horse. And we're walking around, and then the dogs, and you hear
the dogs,
and the volume that the dogs are barking is increasing, and it's not a friendly woofer. It is quite a snarling pup, that shit gets real aggressive real quick. We walk into the building. We enter not low lighting, not like, okay, change your adjust your brightness. We enter pitch black. There is the shade of textures on the ground, and then there is no game. And I'm like, okay, all right. And before the concept of even lighting up a torch occurs, wander right into a big old guard who...
so you met a guard before the dogs.
Immediately. They were chasing.
Oh.
And as they were chasing, I wandered into the darkness and around a corner, just not knowing blindly what was going on, and hit a guard instead of the dogs. And immediately went for the swing, saw the fight, saw some stuff hanging.
Oh yeah? What do you mean, Wooly? What's going on?
Saw a big old stinger hanging between the guard's legs.
Yep. Were you aware that was part of this game?
I was. I did hear about that, and we tried to fight. It didn't go too well. Hard cut to the darkness where bad things happen, and I get what is not a game over, but released back into gameplay after some very bad...
Wait, so, Wooly, we're talking some, I would say, content warning, bad things happening?
Absolute content warning, very much so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, your first playthrough.
Immediately. And the way it then is like, okay, go to your inventory, turn the torch on. Oh, I have been like assaulted. I'm on the ground. I am bleeding out. I have no legs and I'm in a jail cell. Crawl your way out or around. And I'm like, okay. And then the mechanic that is the bleeding mechanic, specifically anus bleeding mechanic, goes off, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I would say I think that's kind of a questionable choice. I don't love that.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I see what we're doing here. And also I'm like, is there going to be some way to restore my walking ability? And it seems not for a while. At which point I go, well, if there is, I'm not going to discover it anytime soon at this rate, so let's just go back,
there is, and you won't.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Is it quickly becomes apparent that it's like, was that a game over? It wasn't, but it might as well have been.
Although, Wooly, no, now that I think of it, there is another way to restore lost limbs.
Okay, but to be fair, I know nothing, and I have like 3 torches, and a bunch of this game is not visible, and I'm moving at the slowest possible pace for the way those torches work even. And it's just, and I have no weapon. Like there's no game to happen at this point, right? And so like I entertained the idea for a little bit of crawling around, and I'm like, okay, got it. So then I restart, and I swing around to the left this time. And
Same character, same build?
yes. Cool. And then this time I go down into the dungeons, and I'm able to go a little bit more further in and kind of see a couple
And for people who have never seen this game, this is like a 2D RPG Maker Super Nintendo looking game.
Oh yes. Copious amounts of jank are on display. And then I encounter a couple of the first enemies, and I see like I start to get a better flow for like how the game wants you to traverse, because it just felt completely impossible from that initial
yes,
run, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this game on Terror and Starvation has one of the best invisible tutorials in terms of like, it will teach you how to play it if you're willing to listen.
Okay. So there's a point around that initial like push in where I start to see enemies that I'm like, that I'm just not gonna mess with that. I don't have any.
I'm guessing you're talking about the flame golem. Flame golem.
It was no, there was like a guard with the extra armor on it.
Oh, the guard captain. I always forget he's there. Yep.
Walking up and down, and I'm just like, nope to that. And then and then kind of push a little bit past and find a bed. And this is again like over an hour at this point has passed in, and I'm like, I found some things, and I've started to create a little bit of a semblance of a character.
You got a little momentum going, maybe.
Can I just save that progress? And then you hit the bed that is right there, and a coin flip occurs. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. The concept of saving has been... And now a switch goes off, because it's like, you get to a save. You cannot save whenever you want to, and when you get to...
Wait, so just... Wooly, are you in a room with a statue?
I am in a room with a statue.
Huh.
Because
you should get one free save at that bed.
So but like, yeah, okay, so I go and I do I think I use it, and it gives me
okay
yeah, I think I do make that save or so. But there's a point at some where I guess I come back, or like but it's early on in when like I explore a bit more, and then I use it, and I get that first coin flip, and I kind of just realize that I'm like, oh, this is a...
Wait a minute, you're a coin flip in that bed.
I believe so.
Okay.
And it's immediately apparent that like there is going to be a problem with the concept of saving your progress. So
does the coin flip work? Do you succeed?
If it's not the first time, it's definitely the second time. I wake up and the Crow Mauler is right there.
Oh my god.
Super
okay.
early.
Okay,
Super
yeah.
early.
Wooly, I was not I did not think you would encounter him for another 15 or 20 hours.
No.
So the Crow Mauler basically... Okay, no. You just keep going. You keep going.
And I give it a shot, because I'm like, well, what are we going to do? And you have no semblance of a decent weapon. You've got no defense. And even if you do, your bones get broken. You get like bleeding, sepsis, infection.
Did he rip out your eyes?
No. I think I just had I forget what the statuses were, but a bunch of icons, I believe, started stacking up on my character that I didn't know what they were, I believe. And that was that. There was nothing to be said or done.
So Crow Mauler has a specific attack. He has an instant kill attack that just kills you. He also has an attack that rips out your eyes, and even if you escape the battle, if it happens to your main character, the screen is black.
There you go. Yeah. And it was around here where I'm like, okay, I see what's happening. This game is... There's almost not a game to be had just rolling through it as is. Like you're going to have to fight every single step of the way to make an ounce of progress, and even then, it is not guaranteed to you. And I was like, okay, I see what you've put me in for, John. I see how you fucking set me up, right?
I mean,
now,
look, I would describe myself as Fear and Hunger as one of the most challenging but enlightening video game experiences I've ever had. I have put over 100 hours into this game, Wooly, and I wanted my friend, my dear friend, to experience that same journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was also around that period of understanding where I kind of got to see hints of what was going on with the there was like the sacrificial altars that you encounter, and making your way, like finding your way through some of the back rooms to like just like, again, like horrible torture devices, all kinds of things going on, cultists, a shit pit that just, there is no, like, oh, did you did you progress before, if you did you do anything and then jump down here? Well, fuck you, buddy.
Oh, did you jump into the shithole? And then the game is, you're just like, well, that was a bad idea.
Yeah. Oh, you thought there was going to be content down here? Well, there is.
Why would you crawl into a toilet? Like, just and like, yeah. You're like, well, you're not wrong, yeah.
but there are moments that occur where you get little bits of the setting and the background and the world established through reading the books, through finding characters, through the lore, and there are instances of horror genius that occur, right?
I would agree.
However, just like the coin flip at the bed, there are alternating moments of an edgy high schooler's summer camp video game class magnum opus that occur.
I would agree.
And perhaps it was the I don't know, because I don't know what the regular version of the game consists of, so there's always a level of like, I'm not sure how much of this is the game versus the difficulty, but I can say that like it is a brutal introduction. It is a insanely brutal introduction to the mechanics and everything through this way of playing it for the first time. And the edginess is like, there's definitely eye rolls happening.
Okay.
That I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get what's going on. And then there's some stuff that's like, hey man, do you like Berserk? It's like, oh, interesting.
So the way some people describe this game is that this is Berserk and you're a side character.
That's a good way to put it. And with that though, there's definitely, I do have to say, so like, yeah, and there's that establishing point I get to where I'm like, okay, this is going to be a slog, right? It's going to make you fight it for anything. No quarter is going to be given.
Okay. So can I ask you a question at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, played like an hour of this game. Fuck this. Like, fuck this game. I hate this. Like, what? This is clearly really terribly designed. But then it kind of stuck with, just something about the game stuck with me, and I was like, well, what if I try and go a different way? Like, what if I don't try and fight the dogs? What if I just go straight? Is any of that happening you, or are you like, I hate this?
I'm basically like, okay, edgy high schooler has designed some edgy bits, and also is going, what if it was fucking hard? What if it was
right?
So
okay.
hard? And I'm like, I get it. But I am seeing something that is like, what's that about, right? What's happening back there? You make it out into this daylight moment, and then you see a line of hanging corpses, and then you navigate, and I'm like, okay, where does this lead? Where does that lead? There's a bit of an opening up of a little, what I call in Dark Souls, the shortcut porn. You open up a gate, as you saw earlier, and you're like, there's a little loop that you can do. It's like, okay, all right. And I'm like, all right, this is the challenge, so I will continue to engage. I would have probably tapped, but I'm going to continue to engage because of...
So I actually went on I think the New Gods podcast, which is like the Fear and Hunger podcast a little while ago. And I was asking all the guys about like their experience with it. And every single one of them, including myself, had the same story where there is absolutely a moment where you tap with this game and you're like, I don't want to play this anymore. And then you come back.
Now, I had the extra bit that was...
you had this podcast.
Right? So it is not an untainted experience to that degree because I'm like, I do know that it was like, there's something that you want me to see here. So I do persevere to some degree. And you kind of encounter these things where I'm like, oh, there's that, like, so there's the, the anal bleeding mechanic, as we mentioned, where I'm like, okay, game.
Which that is like the indie, like that is the edgy teen, and I don't love that.
But then you also encounter this weird orgy happening up to the side.
I absolutely fucking love that moment.
And I was
because it is...
What is this game?
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, for people who don't know, I had an entire 3-minute section about that orgy that I had to cut out of my Fear and Hunger video essay. You can find the uncensored version, patreon.com/SuperEyepatchWolf. I love that moment because I thought I understood that I was dealing with edgy Berserk RPG Maker thing. That moment punched my brain and just made me feel like I don't know what. So if people haven't seen it, you come out into this one peaceful area, and the area is unusual because there's no danger. There's no like enemies. It's just a chill area with a bunch of pickups, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're exploring around. You find a weird little Mosquito Man NPC. And then you check up the top left, and there's just a bunch of people in bunny masks having this weird orgy.
Mm-hmm. And you're invited to join if you want. And this is again at the point where I'm like, okay, the name of the game is Save Scum, because this game is unfair about its ability to record your progress. Therefore, I feel no ways about respecting it in that regard.
Okay.
So, you go, because I'm like, no, I see what you want from me, and if you're not playing fair, then neither am I. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. So we go up and like, and I think I do it and then fail and die, and you just lose yourself to the orgy and you're gone forever or so. Mm-hmm. And then crack it again, and if you happen to get it right, you participate and then come back to your senses. You win the coin flip.
And all your health is restored, and you get attribute boost from Sylvain, the god of fucking.
So the god of love, the
the
Aphrodite of the game. He's exactly. You got to point towards it. It's like, oh, you've done something to please one of these gods. And I was like, okay, yeah, interesting. Whatever that might mean, you know. So now here's the thing, right?
Okay.
As this is happening, I'm also getting crashes when things are attacking me. I'm getting crashes when certain things, when I die or when other things, I'm getting bugs. Really bad bugs are occurring.
Yeah, there's still some bugs. What are you playing it on?
PC.
Okay.
Steam, you know. And I'm running into some big bad issues that are also aggressively affecting things. Also, when the controller disconnects, it's an old enough game that you can't reconnect your controller properly. Like, you have to kind of go through some, you know. So there's a whole like rigmarole with that.
So I played this on Steam Deck, which I would say comes with its own majority, but like own just cavalcade issues.
Okay.
There's a point where in the mines that your game can just freeze, and it's so frustrating.
Okay. I had a bunch of weird A-class bugs that occurred that just destroyed progress, and it sucked. That feels bad, especially when things happen that are like, you know, going your way for a while.
When you're on a run and you like just it's not even the game's fucked up like rule set that kills you. It's like literally a technical bug. It sucks. Like it really sucks in a game like this.
There's a point I got to where I was just discovering things. I was using, like, I had enough torches to push into a fairly completely dark area and kind of see what was going on a bit, avoid some enemies, and check some bookshelves and stuff. And I found a book that, upon reading it, because also you have to like keep track of all the books you're finding and make sure you go through them. And also when you're talking to people or reading a book, the timer on the torch is still going, which also sucks because like you're never really, so you're always got that like you know, like thing going, and like I'm like let it stop when I'm reading or something. But anyway, and I read a book that pulls me in and teleports me to the city of the gods.
Yep.
And I'm walking and the god hand itself appears. Right? And I have a moment with one of them of like recognition, and then something meaningful happens, and then I wander around this city of the gods. And then as time fades out, eventually I wake back up and I'm put back into reality, and I'm like, oh my god, that was something really important. Some crazy shit happened. I found a lot of good stuff. Wow. And then I want to say I like rounded a corner and just fucking hit a guard and just got annihilated.
Just got murked. Yep.
And then that was gone. And then when I went back to try and find it again, I just didn't RNG that book ever again. And it was like, but that was a moment of plot. And I was robbed of the, and I'm like, oh, the RNG is also, doesn't care about you even having the experience that's going to teach you about what's going on or not. You might not even get that. So I never got that moment again. And like, I was trying to find it and I never did, right?
So one of the things about Fear and Hunger is that it is a game about dealing with profound unfairness.
Yep. And the idea that this massive, important plot moment could be randomly given to you and then just as randomly taken away, and I just as easily could have never seen it because I just happened to get lucky that run, was again one of like, oh, I see. The bullshit extends even further, right? This is a completely unfair RNG-ass experience you're hitting me with. That felt bad that moment was gone forever. Right?
Sure. Okay. I can understand that.
But I see what but I'm seeing what's being stacked up in front of me. Now, not too far after that, I'm also somebody who experiments because especially in a world where you're like, I don't know the rules, we'll have to just figure them out. I encounter instead of finding that book again or so, I think a bit later I find an empty scroll. Like, and I'm like, oh, what? There's nothing to learn from this? Okay. So then I pop it to like look at it, and then it's just like, what do you want to write? And it's like, I don't know, first verse, second verse, third verse. All right. You've used it. It's gone. What was that? Okay. And we proceed. John? That's the most important item in the game.
Yep.
And do you know how I know that, John?
How'd you know that?
Because I beat the game.
Wait a minute. Now, what do you mean beat the game?
I continued crawling through the darkness, through the mines. When I ran out of torches, I memorized the methods of crawling in the darkness. I suffered. I fucking bled. It was excruciating. And I hit fucking credits, John. You challenged me to play this game, and I completed
So, okay,
it.
hang on. You saved Lagard?
No. I don't know what that is. but I'm just fast forwarding to let you know right off the bat. I persevered to see what was happening. And when I hit a wall where there was nothing left to do and you have no torches left, I learned that if you find a box in the darkness, there's a good chance you might get one torch.
Yep, that's true. So an advanced Fear and Hunger tech is that you always leave one box without taking anything from it, so that if you need that torch later, you can get it.
Yeah. So...
Wow, okay.
So I hit that point where I'm like, this is not fair, fuck you, and I'm actually stranded. There's nothing I can do left at this point. I have no resources. And I'm like, all right, we're going to stumble in the darkness until we get a torch. And this has happened multiple times. And with that, I'm like, you know what, game? No. I need to know what that scroll was. And I will go and I will look up what that scroll was and find that out, right? So I'm basically like just going, this game is cheating at me. I am cheating back every time I'm pushing further into like try and figure out what is going to happen here. I'm going to see if I can just get to that next point of bare minimum survival. And with that journey, I can see some rad shit occurred. I hit the blood corridor where you're digging around, you fight the lizard man. At a certain point, I got enough weapons to be able to kind of defend and fight back, and deal with that, run away and such. Killed him once, dropped his shield. Killed him a second time, didn't drop the shield. All right, missed out on a really cool shield. Yada yada. Dig around, pull a decapitated wizard out of the blood pile, and
you met Nashra.
And then something from the darkness started coming.
Isn't that the most fucking
And that's where I was like, okay, that's fucking cool. That's really, really cool. And then it came closer, and I ran the fuck away. I'm like, no, you can't fight. Just escape. And it's like, you can't escape. Just escape. You can't. And I'm like, all right. And I finally escaped. Moments of barely making it out the door before the dogs are on your ass. Eventually finding enough torches to wander onto the other side. Like literally going down the cage into the fucking mines, wandering one way, running out of torch, and then coming across Pocket Cat.
Fucking Pocket Cat.
Just this character that is the weirdly friendly NPC in one of the most dark areas of the game that is just like, I don't even know which way I'm wandering at this point. And yeah, that little bit that is... Well, anyway, after establishing your personality and having a little chat about, light and darkness and then, general disposition, I have some items that are for sale, some very good ones,
I deal in a particular currency.
That's it. No, I don't want any money. I do, however, I will take any children that you have.
Yeah, live children, please.
Yeah. So, come on back if you got any of those. Right? Establishes that. Things like that are just like, okay. And then when you revisit, he's like, hey, I noticed you don't have any children with you. And I'm like, oh, this is really what we're doing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I at some point, I put on a cursed ring that I could not remove, and it stopped.
Still blood ring.
It stopped the bleeding, but then I could not put on any other accessories, and I did not know that. And I was
I have beaten this game multiple times in multiple ways on stream. I learned to dread getting a still blood ring, because what happens is sometimes you hit optimize, and that goes on, and so many options get cut off.
Right. So that's precisely what happened to me. Didn't know what I was dealing with until I dealt with it. Fortunately, I was able to push on through until I met what was his name? There was like a little thief dude that is like that joins you. It's like, hey, let me help you out.
And mercenary, yeah,
the mercenary or so, yeah. And so we rolled together for a bit. I'm like, oh my god, I got a party member. Holy shit, that's cool. And I'm actually like, let's fight things, And then you walk out the room.
Yeah, doesn't it feel real good for a second?
For a half
real
second.
Good, yeah.
And you're like, there you go. There is a profound moment too that I hit where it was like, in fighting the guards, where you hit defend, and then you manage to avoid the command grab.
Yeah, when you realize that coin... So there's a coin flip attack in the game that the guard will do, and it's not an instant kill, but it does so much damage it might as well be. And you realize that you don't have to flip that coin. If you guard, his arm twitches, then the next thing you do is guard, you fucking third strike parry it.
And so with that, and then the idea that like there's going to be these telegraphed moments, and then there's going to be these things you should go for and try to hit these particular weak points or so. It's like, oh, enemies are a puzzle, and
yes.
they're a puzzle that you need to solve, until they're not. but at least in some cases, enemies are solvable puzzles that you try to figure out, right?
You can get to a point with guards where with one person, unless it's the Dark Priest, you can take down guards reliably without taking damage.
Right.
Which is, when you start that game, is an insane concept.
It's batshit, right? So yeah, the thing ends up being like, so I hit a point where again, I'm like, I can't put on any other accessories, and some of them sound like they're pretty useful. But fortunately, by the time I'm back around in those caves, after learning some blood magic and trying to fight the nursing mother crow thing, and just the horrors of getting ripped apart by that.
The cave mother.
I go north, and then I meet the mercenary again. He joins my party. This time around, knowing what he's up to. Well, I actually go, yo, fuck you. And then he's like, all right. And then we fight. And then he beats my ass, like, easily free. So then I load back in, come back around and go, fine, join
So
me.
are you using quick saving and quick loading?
No, I'm not. There's a quick save?
Okay. No, there's not. I thought maybe there was some mod play or something going on.
No.
Continue.
No.
No. You gotcha.
I am fucking every single time just going through the left, up, right 5, down 1. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
And do I have a torch? Yes. Okay, cool. If you're on 0, anyway. And making it back there and trying to use as minimal steps as possible. Get to him and do the thing, he rejoins, and then make it over to the sacrificial altar, and then we're like, let's bang, bro. And he's like, yeah, all right. And we do it, and then a marriage occurs.
It sure does.
And then I'm back to being whole. And the ring is finally off my finger.
But all your equipment is also gone.
And I look a little bit fucked up. And I'm like, oh my God, that's how you get your limbs back or figure out any of your problems whatsoever. Yep. Right?
Yeah. There is another way later in the game. It also requires the deposit of a live child.
So, pushing in at this point, then, it basically, so I again kind of proceed and double back at some point and meet the Casca.
Oh yeah.
And she hangs out, and then she's constantly getting depressed, and I have to use all of my booze or my opium or whatever I've got on me to just be like, hey, it's going to be okay. Please stop collapsing in the corner. Come on, we can do it.
Yep.
And like, just, and if, and again, some copious save reloading on that too, where like some corners will usually run into one of those encounters. So you have to know which corners it's going to happen in, I hit points again where bugs are occurring, where I summon a blood golem to my side.
Oh, that's
which is
those
really
are great.
useful because it draws
Yep.
aggro. But also there are times where like it survive, or I die and then it doesn't, and then the game doesn't know what to do, and then that crashes, right?
Yeah, so you know those lizard men you mentioned?
Yeah.
They can hit you with a weird counterattack where your health drops to 0, but the game doesn't register you're dead. And it leads to a bunch of weird shit.
I got one where it was I think it was against the Spectre Knight, where
that fucking thing. Yeah.
we're fighting the Spectre Knight, and beating it was like an unusual way that the fight ends, and so the blood golem continued to be in my party, and I could like see him on the pause screen as a party member, and he was there, and you could like look at his equipment and all that shit. And then even get and like see the hunger on him and everything, and feed him and so on. And then like when you get into the next fight, it's already out. So that was a weird moment of like, oh well, there you go. And then it fades away after that fight as normal,
Strange, yeah.
But yeah, so I pushed and basically whenever I hit something where I was just like, okay, I'm stuck. This is where by all means this should end. I'm like going to either memorize and crawl until I get through that, or I'm gonna go check and see what this item does. I'm gonna go check and see what this spell does, whatever the case is, and use that piece of information to go forward to the next bit. I got to Mahabre, the real way.
Wow. Okay.
I got the cube. I went down to the thing. I came across. I walked left, and I saw the salmon snake. I got a real lucky round against the salmon snake with my summons and stuff. And got some salmon snake meat and some vials and all that. The dude right above the salmon snake is just that insane Voldo fucker that you run. Oh yeah, you run into him and you're dead.
Those guys are run ruiners. They are.
There's just nothing to it, right? And then and I eventually get to Mahabre. Now the tomb you pass through to get there, I think I'm at 0 torches when it's going down, and I'm wandering through the darkness, and there are bear traps on the ground, and the moment you step on them, you have no legs. It's over. You're crawling.
Oh yes.
Run ruined, right? And you can't see in the darkness because again so that as well is another moment of memorize the steps tile by tile until we make our way around where all the traps are, where all the enemies are crawling out, and then stumble in the darkness until you make your way to the door, and we do it. And it takes an excruciating long amount of time, and I'm like, what the fuck? This should be the point where, again, you can and should tap out. But I'm like, nope, I have something to prove.
So when you hit Maharavra, how do you say the city? I always fuck it up.
I thought it was like Mahabre or
Mahabre.
Yeah.
Did you get to the point where it's like, I thought we were approaching end boss?
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. And it wasn't even that. I'm like, oh no.
Not even close.
Not even. Oh, you hit the halfway point.
To me, yeah, so that's what I say in my video.
Yeah.
I'm like, you realize that this is the game's halfway point, and you just want to die.
Yeah. So that area is a little bit better lit initially until you go inside, so you don't have to burn through as many torches and such. But then you start making it into like some of the transitional corridors and the and then you get over to the tower, and it's like, oh my god, an actual save.
An actual free save.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Because
and it's the ability to just save your game without penalty. In any other game doesn't fucking matter. In this, it is a ray of like, I can do this.
Because like, and this is again, like, I'm enjoying the bits that I'm getting, but there's also things that I need to be real. When I know where the save room is off to the side, right above the torture dungeon room, and I know that every once in a while when you wander around, the crow mauler's coming to get you, and he's chasing and he's misdirecting his way through it. So you got to be careful about how long you take. And if you're standing around, or if you're reading a menu, if you're browsing through your spells, it's still on Crow Mauler time. It's crazy. Like, why would that? Anyway, that's batshit. So,
oh no, the Crow Mauler does pause. The enemies do pause
on when you're looking through your spell screen where you're at the altar to buy spells. It is not paused.
Yeah, okay.
You will get something as
interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm in a menu, guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So around the time where you kind of know where that room is, and then like, yeah, I forgot the guy's name, but you free that one dude, and then he's like waiting in that room. There's a point where the game is like, okay, this is no longer scary. It's just mechanically, just like it's a nose, because I'm like, I know where the room is. I know I have to get to it. I know the steps at this point, and I get to the room, and it's been a long run. I found some stuff that I like, and I try to save it, and then the coin flip fails, and I got to walk back out. And then at some point, you catch on to the idea that going to the next bed that is around is another chance at another save. And if that doesn't work, by the time you double back to that last one, that one will be usable again, because your panicked sense of...
You can also wipe all the monsters in that area and save without penalty.
Okay, so even when you wipe all the monsters in the area, because again, I did get enough spells to manage the combat at a point, you still have the coin flip. And if the coin flip fails, you're still too panicked to save. And you have to go over to like another save or come back to and then try again. So those are the moments of like, 5 in a row, can't save. Let's go. And I'm like, what? This is like, and that's where I'm like, come on. Like this doesn't, it's not about being scary at that point. It's just kind of being a pain in the ass to save the process.
Yeah, like there are some rough edges to Fear and Hunger.
Yeah. And there's I hit like I forgot what room it was, but I made a note that I hit a frame rate room where
you play on Steam Deck. Yeah, it's basically like there's entire swaths of especially the Ancient City that are just fucked.
Absolutely batshit fucked. Yeah, it was insanity. You could barely move around. I got to the what was I'm just going to call him Griffith because whatever that dude's name is, you wanted... Lagarde. You wanted revenge on him from the outset. And by the time you make it to him, for me at least, he was already long dead, right? And you get in there, and then Casca falls apart and what was her name again?
It's weird. It's like D apostrophe A or CE. So people have sworn blind to me that it's Dark, and people have sworn blind to me that it's Darce.
Yeah.
So I just call her Casca.
Okay, because I'm assuming they're going for Jeanne d'Arc, right? Joan of Arc. But yeah. So she falls apart, and then you have that moment of like, well, your revenge is, that's it, right? But before I got there, there was there's a fight right outside that, which one of the big fucking things, and I remember I had used the bear trap I had to like take out the other Voldo fucker.
Realizing you can use the bear traps to do that shit was one of them, just like mind expansion memes for me. Just what the fuck?
Looking at the bow and arrow, and I looked up to, and I was like, oh, you can use that on the map as well.
Wooly. In 100 hours of now, granted, the way I play a game like this, I don't look up anything.
Okay.
I will only just go by. Now, occasionally, if I feel like something is like progress blocking me to the point that I'm not having a good time anymore, I will look it up. I didn't know how to get by the ghosts in the mines, so I looked that up.
But this is exactly where I'm at. Right, I don't look things up usually either. I have the thing I do over on Woolly Versus is I do cold runs through games, and like you're getting me experiencing it as it is. But when I hit those points that you just described, I go, fuck you, game. Fuck you. Either I need to know this piece of information or I can't continue playing. And
so for me, what it comes down to is like, I think people should play games in the way that they get the most enjoyment out of them. You know, like I don't think if people want to like guide the whole thing, fuck it. Look, it's fine. And if people kind of like me want to do like 99% of it cold, I think that's cool too.
Yeah, when I have no life left and I'm already infected and I'm bleeding out and I make it back to a bed and I can't save because I just didn't get the coin flip properly, even using the bonus coin or whatever, and then you have to walk back and like, oops, your infection killed you and I lost all the shit that I found. Like, no, man. No, like, fuck that. No.
For me, I kind of enjoy that.
Well, this is where it would be fine to be like, all right, well, you could just stop here, and that would have been enough to talk about it.
But for me, it's kind of like, this is so unfair that there's something about it where it's like, okay, but what could I have done to not end up in this situation? And this is what Fear and Hunger became to me, right? Fear and Hunger became, okay, I'm infected, I've out of torches, I have one leg, so I'm moving at half speed, and there's nothing I can do here, so I'm just going to fucking die. So this game sucks, and it's badly designed, and I hate it. Fuck this. And eventually it became, okay, but do you remember, like, 40 minutes ago, when you forgot to pick up that green herb, and were like, fuck it, it's fine, and kept going without it?
Right.
If you had picked up the green herb, you would have been fine. And so the way I came to understand this game was basically having all these little, like, okay, I know if I do this, it's going to guard against this. I know if I do this, it's going to guard against this. And I eventually built up this, like, basically way of constantly micromanaging every little thing, so I never ended up in those situations.
Okay.
And for the people who have watched my streams, things still went horribly wrong all the time, but that was hilarious. You know, that was the fun, weird shit. So, like, I agree with everything you're saying. My interpretation of it and, like, the reasons I enjoy it are so different.
Right.
Because victory is not the goal for me.
Right, okay.
Experiences,
now,
you know?
Now, to be fair, if I were on stream too, I would perhaps have a bit of a different perspective. But I'm playing it by myself at 4 a.m., right?
Okay.
And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? I'm just, like, like, there's points where it's like, all right, you saved because enough happened here, and you did make it out of that impossible situation just enough to make it to the bed, and you're already infected or whatever the fuck. You can't heal, because saving doesn't heal you or whatever. And I'm just going to have to try and hope that this branch of this save path leads to better things. Otherwise, I got to go back to an older save and reload that because this one's fucked. And when you hit these moments where I'm like, literally, my progress, like, I'm going to die in a couple steps. I can't do anything. My progress is completely fucked without the torches or the equipment to stop this bleeding or get rid of the infection. That's where it's either I go and find out that if you put on the, is it the salmon snake crown? No, not the old crown. If you put on a certain accessory, you get rid of the bleeding and infection.
So it's salmon snake soul.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
You put that on, and then it gets rid of that infection, and then you can actually continue playing. Right?
Yeah, and then this entire system that was basically a progress blocker is gone.
Right.
I live for those moments. Okay, like, I love that.
But there to me, it was, I had to go find that out. I had to, like, there was no experimenting through the items to just happen upon that. You know what I mean? So, and I
think that was something for me that my Twitch chat told me. And I think that's another advantage of playing this game on Twitch.
I had no chat.
Okay, yeah.
You know? So things like that, I'm like, well, again, it's this or I stop. And I don't want to stop because I want to prove something. I want to come here and have the full conversation. And I hit that save in the tower. We go back into the past. We walk around the old Rondon, you know what I mean? And I walk into the brothel. And then around that point, again, I have no torches. And then the last one I have wears off before I hit the right point. So then a cutscene happens between two characters with the pregnant woman. But it happens...
in the dark.
But it happens in the dark.
Oh, fuck.
Because my torch ran, and I have no... You know? And I'm like, what is happening? What am I doing here? You know?
Yep.
And then these weird moments where I'm just like, yeah, this is where, like, I don't know if there's a benefit to having my torch run out when a scene like this is playing out, you know?
Sure.
And then, and then make my way up through to the memories, to the past, to the house, you know. And,
Skin Granny.
Yep, Skin Granny, right? And
Skin Granny was one of my moments where I was like, okay, I don't think I'm ever actually going to beat this game. But I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I incredible. I love Skin Granny.
And late in the game, I wander all the way back to the front, and I go left instead of right to that area where I think I picked up just enough flint stones at a point, because I was like, is it better to use flint to put on the walls and light the torches, or to make torches? And I was like, oh, there's probably a system of like lighting the whole world up if you use them. And then I thought that might have been the way, and it's not the fucking way, because those there you get to areas where there are no torch holders, but it's like
wall torches are completely fucking useless bullshit. As far as I could tell. Yep.
But then I eventually, there's a point where I come across enough flint, but I have some cloth. And I've ripped it from the curtains. I've ripped it from the flags that were on the walls in the flashback zone.
The save room beds.
But I have no sticks, you know?
Yep.
And then that fucking is a slog. But when I do get the sticks, I wander back and I'm devouring the corpses while feeding Casca the actual foods I have.
So it's funny because like Devour is actually the cannibalism that is so beneficial late game, like so extremely good.
Yes.
But you don't need it too much up until then. But when you're in the ancient city and supplies are getting tight, oh my god, it's a game changer.
Impossible, right? But you don't want to waste your opportunity to devouring something and then not check its body or strip it for flesh or use a soul on it to get the soul, the dull soul that's the currency on your. So there's a lot of ways to play with the corpse, you know. But I wandered way late back to the front and then went to the side where I didn't go and found the little girl, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I didn't, so I only got her like super late after Mahavra. And then she joins, you know? And I guess, around that point, I just pushed on, you know, and I pushed on with "fuck you, John, fuck you."
Okay, you know? I am growing absolutely terrified of whatever you're going to recommend me this month.
Well, it's just quite simple, but eventually, you know, you get to that point where like, yeah, you fight everything and you get to the bit, and I hit the final boss, and that's a fun little conversation moment.
Which final boss?
Okay, so. I fought the brain boss earlier and asked a question that I do damage to it by answering the question. And And I found out after the fact that like that can be a bunch of different questions and a bunch of different ways to attack it. I got lucky that it asked the same question multiple times, and
interesting.
And it had the same answer, and it was an answer that I knew, you know. So that was just a fucking full-on luck thing. But then I made it to, the king on the throne, who was there, and then into the void I go. And I'm like, all right, finally. Not thinking after beating Darius I forget what his name was, but after beating that dude on the throne, not thinking to go back and save at that point, because I'm like, right, roll credits, we hit the throne. Enter the void, one torch left. And the game continues. And that's the point, this final sequence where I was like, oh, I'm actually fucked. I cannot beat this. I cannot wander around until I get to anything. I don't have enough light. And hiding from the thing that's coming is not going to work. And that's where I basically am like, using the torch, I'm able to see a bit, uncover, fuck off, die, reload the point from the.
You are beating Fear of Hunger with raw force of will. This could not be more different to how I played this game. This is fascinating. I am so impressed.
Nothing left in me but spite at this point, and with no light left or anything, I have in my inventory unused a Book of Enlightenment. which I use to save in the void, and 1 scroll, which I use to wish for a torch.
Oh.
And with that torch, I use the previous run's info of where the girl is and where Casca is and scoop them up and then wander over to the side to the one thing I could find, which was the big, insane day god. And then after that, you yourself. And after... and with those final bits and pieces, I made it to the figure of me, and that is basically in the future that has become a god or so.
Wooly, I've never fought that.
Well, I don't know what else is possible in the void, but I got the girl down here.
I know how that happened. Okay, so Lagarde, the guy who dies in the basement,
Yeah.
if you get to him in 30 minutes, he's still alive.
Okay.
I brought him to the void. He became the new god.
Okay.
Wow.
That is not at all what happened for me.
Oh my, I can't believe you hit the one ending. I did not even know that ending. I have seen the sprites of those characters. I thought it was a hard mode thing. That's it. Wooly, I got another run to do on Twitch.
With the hilt of a broken sword and 1 arm and 1 eye closed, I crawled to that fucker.
Oh my god.
And then...
Wow.
And then hit the ending that is, you become a god. And what do you want to do? Do you want it, as people worship you, you can intervene, or you can stay silent and let them grow. And by intervening, humanity becomes more dependent on you, but also they don't grow to be self-sufficient. And then you have this whole sequence of, basically, yeah, is it better to be a silent new god in the back, or is it better to be a loud god up front that is amongst them? And how that is going to affect humanity over time as it goes, you know?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wooly, I am stunned. I never expected this. Okay, how are you feeling about the game after everything?
I think it has a lot of cool shit that I'm glad that I saw. I met the green being in the corner that asks you for the child in exchange for something or whatever. I met it because I navigated through the darkness with no torches to find my way around the big god corpse and up to her. That experience, that level of blind navigation and frustration, I would not wish upon anybody or recommend upon anybody. The cool shit.
This is one of the most difficult games in existence, and you played it in the most difficult way.
And for that, I don't know if this... whatever the differences are between the original mode and this mode, if the original mode is at all any less bullshit, then it can be a recommend with a massive caveat for the edgelord shit that's going on in it. But But for the most part, this is where I go, I remember hearing from you and other people talking about how Fear and Hunger 2 cleans a lot of this shit up and makes it a whole lot better.
Fear and Hunger 2 has tutorials that teach you what's happening.
Okay.
There are no torches in Fear and Hunger 2.
Okay. Because that's and to recommend someone's first time on what is it? Terror and Starvation. That's batch. I could never recommend this.
So the only reason I did that, Wooly, is because that's what I did to myself.
I see. Well, I'm right here with you now.
Now you look. Okay, what I would say, Wooly, 2 things, right? When the trauma has healed, I would say you should look up some things about the different builds and the different things you can do in that game, because the amount of you can do that.
I had one where there was a point where I saw it was either a screenshot or a thumbnail of it was something, but there was a point where I saw a picture of the pause screen, and one of the party members was that wolf that I killed from the base, from the drop dark area. And I'm like,
oh, Moonless?
The moon, yeah, that's a party member?
That's a party member.
I fed it some meat, and then I fucking killed it.
Oh, maybe you should have fed it a little more meat.
Yeah, well, I was trying not to die because I had no resources and I didn't know what was going on. You know?
Moonless never attacks you.
Yeah, so there you go, right?
No. Well, that's a fucking wild ride, dude. Oh my god. Oh, wait, how many sessions was that? That wasn't the one session.
No, that was... I can tell you, actually. Let me see if I may. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. That was, I sat down to play it 7 times.
So, okay, what I would do is that I would like basically hit a point where I'd be like, okay, I'm dead. I can't do any more with this run. And I would start again with a different character trying out different routes. Okay. So kind of the opposite, but yeah, God, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And you know, Wooly, what really strikes me is like the effort. And I think we can both agree that when it comes to these challenges, the effort is the most important part.
Well, listen, I wanted to come in strong and hot into our brand new project, and I wanted to give it the respect it deserves. And so I pushed it all and I persevered, and I did this all while continuing to do the other things over on Wooly Versus, the regular streams and bits and podcasts and all the regular stuff. I just did this in the off time. You know, and I was able to hit that point where the credits rolled, which were hilarious, by the way, because everything in the credits says by Miro. Everything done by Miro, except a couple of things here.
Yeah. So, you know, it's weird, Wooly, because like I don't know if you know too much about Fear and Hunger, but when I did my video on it, it was basically a completely obscure game. There was one other big video essay on it by Ultimate TV.
Okay.
And it was kind of him, and it was a couple of other people that were making like little videos about it. And I made that video, and that video blew up a lot. And if you ever want to see one of those surreal moments, you should look up the Google trending terms for Fear and Hunger and watch how it exploded from that point. It was not like I'm not saying like it was my video. I was just part of the wave of that just exploded. Because then a friend of mine, CDog VA, he did streams, and he exposed it to millions more people.
Okay.
And
so it blew up after you guys took a look at it. I see.
And it's kind of it's a weird experience because like the game was niche as fuck, and it had been around for 5 years, and it had a community, it had people who liked it, but it was small. And like I was on the New Gods podcast, and they were telling me like, yeah, the Discord increased by a factor of about 30 after your video, and it was like, I accidentally think I kind of changed that a little bit, and I kind of felt bad about it in a way, because like you don't want to change something more than necessary. And I know for a fact that since Fear and Hunger has... So I dropped that video, and then 2 months later, I was selling at Artist Alley with Brobex.
Okay.
And someone came up and requested a Fear and Hunger commission from her.
Ah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah.
Sick. Okay.
And so it was again, like it's not solely down to me, the reason it blew up, but that video certainly played a part in it. But if you watch that video, I have this section where I'm like, no one knows about this fucking game. It has like less than X number of views on Steam. Like it's really obscure. It's not anymore. It has an insane fandom now, and it's crazy. This game is also responsible for a little article called "The Super Eye Patch Wolf Divorce: The Secret Behind the Scandal."
Yes, of course.
So basically, in my Fear and Hunger video, I have a running bit where I am becoming so obsessed with the game that my wife leaves me.
Okay. Oh, and that's where the stupid AI generated articles.
So I think enough of those AI generated
fuck.
scooped enough comments of me talking about divorce,
Wow.
which led to an actual article about my divorce.
Wow. Oh my god.
Yep.
It was a bit. It was incepted.
Yeah, it was a bit. Now, I'm fairly sure that's how it happened. I could be wrong.
Okay.
It could also be like, okay, articles about divorce and online personalities get a lot of clicks. Let's pick this random online personality and just do it.
Right.
But oh, that was fucking weird. Anyway,
So that's what
Wooly.
Yeah. I just that's the thing. So it is this coin, and on one side of the coin is, like I said, just horror genius. But the other side is edgy grade 11 video game summer camp magnum opus. You know?
Yeah, I get it. And
yeah.
just to be clear, the reason I recommend it to you wasn't because it's hard. Because to me, anything can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Hard isn't interesting. There is shit I profoundly love about Fear and Hunger. I would go so far as say it is one of my favorite video games.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I just did the run. I don't know it all, but I do see the stuff there that is definitely strong and promising, and some of the shit that's really different and cool. So I can see that.
And I think like this is a game made by one person, pretty much. You know, for something that different and weird and unlike so much else out there, I think you have to accept a certain amount of jank, which is why I'm willing to tolerate it. But I understand it's fucking frustrating.
It is, and even if you're someone who's willing to put up with the frustration, I have to put the big content warning on who I recommend it to as well, about like what you're going to get depictions of in this game and how it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know, there's definitely a little bit of like, there's a point where if you're reading Berserk and you get to your eclipse, and there's an age you might be at where you might not fully get what's going on. All you know is that it's dark, and like, I think when you do understand how and like why it tackles the themes it does, you want to make sure that you tackle them in a manner that increases the depth of the story and gives breadth to it and makes it really human, and engages with it on the level of the seriousness of what happens in that story.
So what I would say is, like, I would say Berserk at times is also guilty of the edgiest shit you've ever seen. What I would also say is that Berserk makes good on it.
Well,
because ultimately, I think Berserk goes to extensive lengths to show you the pain, show you the trauma.
That's my point.
That this shit causes.
That's it.
Berserk is also about healing.
Exactly.
If you take away what happened to Casca during the eclipse, if you take away what happened to Guts when he was a kid, Berserk stops being about what it's about.
Exactly. And if those just become...
But then in Fear and Hunger, you have anal bleeding.
Yep.
And that sucks.
Yes.
It just sucks.
And
you know?
and the thing is that, like, what happens to Guts and Casca is it could just be a background element that you learn about, and then we just continue on, and that's all. And it's just like, oh man, wasn't it fucked up how that happened? Anyway, this world is dark. Moving on to the other cool shit. But no, we spend excruciating amounts of time dealing with the aftermath of how fucked these moments are and how life-ruining they are and the gravity of them. And so it's engaged with on the terms of how serious that affects your life.
Yeah.
And so that's where
and then like you
when
also
you're,
get
when
like
you're in grade 10 or grade 11, you might not get that. You might just think that, oh, that was dark, and let me throw it in.
And then
here.
like you also get those fucking profound moments of healing and moving on from shit when those characters like healing maybe isn't even the right word. When those characters make peace with that part of themselves, it's fucking immense.
Yeah.
You know? And so like I think you can talk about anything in media.
Yep.
I think you can do anything in media. I think you need to treat it with the right, like the right level of respect, the right level of gravity.
Yes.
And to me, Berserk does. Fear and Hunger doesn't.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't.
Yeah.
I just think
Cutting
like
off the
the
dicks,
moments
you're doing
of
your thing.
yeah, you know. And the shit I like about it is very different to there. I think those are valid criticisms against the game. And actually that now, so like there is still a fair bit of like teenage edge in Fear and Hunger 2. The game has backed away from a lot of that stuff.
Okay. Because it does work really well. It shows that it can do it when it has things, like I said, like that orgy scene, which is like, it's a really disturbing, weird moment. And then it echoes back around when you catch the second orgy. Right?
Yes.
The fucking wolf's den, you know, is like, oh, this is, if you were at all someone that was like, ooh, this is kind of spicy, check out the second one. It ain't so spicy
fuck you,
anymore.
you are.
You know? Yeah. So that's it. And I'm like, I like how that was handled, you know, in a
I think that bit, and like I understand, like the thing people always say is that Fear and Hunger is meant to be presenting this like insanely cruel world. And so you have things like that to show that this is a cruel world. And I get it, but to me, like the way that stuff is presented, it's not cruel, it's kind of silly, you know, like it's just kind of okay, you kind of glance this, you're not really engaging with it in a meaningful way, but that's it. But I do 100% agree with you about the orgy. The orgy is fucking amazing.
That's an example of getting it. Whereas like the mercenary before you bang him is like, oh, hope you don't leave he makes some weird line about like how big your dick is, you know.
Oh really?
Yeah, he says something like, oh, I hope you don't make me gape, or it's wild. It's like you're like, what the, okay man, you know, so anyway. That's where we got.
Anyway, Wooly, that's it in the books. Our first ever entry into the Compendium of Greatness. Is that what we're calling it? The Pantheon.
The Pantheon of Greatness.
Okay.
Currently populated by one item.
Okay.
Fear and Hunger.
About to be 2.
John?
Wooly.
Your recommendation was to go out into the world, find the FGC, and participate in a fighting game tournament. What happened?
Okay. Now, Wooly, I think the fact that you hit credits is nice. I think we can agree that. It's a nice thing that happened. But I think what really matters in your story, it's the fucking effort, bro.
John, what happened?
Just even in the face of just struggle and running out of torches, it's the fact that you never gave up. Right,
John, what happened?
Okay, this is a bit of a saga. It begins not long after I get back from MagFest, okay?
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, time to look up my Dublin weeklies. Let's find the Dublin FGC fighting event. Let's get out there. Let's show up at an event. It's going to be weird. We're going to be awkward. It's going to be fine. I mentioned earlier, I'm not great at like meeting new people and stuff.
But hey, a brand new fighting game just came out.
Yep. Wooly, there are no Dublin weeklies. There is no fighting game scene in Dublin. And you want to know the fucked up part? There used to be, and it was wiped off the face of the earth.
What happened? When?
So basically, back in the day, there used to be the Celtic Throwdown. And the Celtic Throwdown was basically run by this one guy. I think it was one or two guys, and forgive me if I'm getting the details wrong on some of this here. If someone in the comments would like to expand on this, but I am going off one account here. But this was all run by a guy called IAJ IRL, okay? And they used to organize fighting tournaments. And this guy was an old school, played Street Fighter 2 upon its release in Irish arcades. Okay. And so he wanted to build an FGC. And so it started in a little pub called the XGC, the Extreme Gaming Center. It was like a little internet cafe on the top of Liffey Street.
Of course it was.
This was in the era of PS3s and 360s, and the fighting game blew up around, of course, Street Fighter 4, the game that pretty much fucking saved fighting games, right?
Brought it back. 09ers. Mm-hmm.
It got bigger and bigger. It then expanded into BlazBlue, and then Marvel.
Okay.
And it became this big thing, and Ireland started doing really well on international scenes.
Okay.
And they started, we start to get some pretty good showings internationally. There's one player called Fergus2K8 who starts doing really well. He's known for his absolutely insidious fist bump hug mix-up that he would do after matches.
Nice.
And then at some point they start being like, okay, let's start to blow this up, and all these tournaments start to pop up all over Ireland. There was a few smaller ones. There was Inferno, Day of Champions, Tempest, and others. But there's one which is the Irish Throwdown, which eventually becomes Celtic Throwdown. That was the big one. And they start to get sponsorships with Nintendo and Sony. All this stuff starts to happen. And you're getting, like, for Ireland, pretty good events of like 300 plus people. And what happens... And it's at the point where it became this guy's full-time job to manage all these different streams. And what happened is the COVID-19 happened.
Of course it did.
And it wiped out the entire thing. And like, it was this guy's pretty much his job, his life. And I think he was just never able to get back.
Okay.
I think he was just like, okay. I don't think I can do this anymore.
So this is the story of every FGC in just about every city, and they've started to recover, right? In Montreal, it started to recover. In the States, in a lot of major cities, they've started getting it back as well. But yeah, the hope was that this would be the case internationally too.
Yeah. So what happens is you have all these separate communities. You have anime fighting game communities. You have Tekken, you have Street Fighter, you have Mortal Kombat, and they basically all completely fracture.
Okay.
So there's no central hub for Irish fighting games anymore. And the vibe I get is that there's a nearly kind of secret kind of thing to them.
Okay.
You have to be invited to a WhatsApp group. If you want to play competitive Mortal Kombat.
Right. Discord groups, people's basements, living room meetups.
So,
yeah. That's a thing.
So lead to me getting more and more panicked as the recording date closes in. And I am looking at, like, Dublin's not happening. Like, there is no event in Dublin. I'm looking at events in Belfast. I'm looking at events in Galway and Cork. So minimum, I'm going 2 hours in a train to get somewhere.
Fuck.
I want to go to one in Galway, but I have to go to a friend's going away party. And, it's a going away party.
Yeah.
You can't,
Okay.
So then I find one. It's the Lee Side Collision. And it's on Saturday, February 3rd.
Oh, you don't say.
What day is the recording date, Wooly?
Today is Sunday, February 4th.
Wooly, I'm just off the train.
It was fucking yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay. So, I find out that Lee Side is on, and there's 3 tournaments. Strive, Street Fighter 6, and Tekken 8.
Mm-hmm. Brand new, hot off the shelves.
I'm like, okay, I am the most experienced in Street Fighter 6. I have a pretty decent Geo in Strive. Probably not tournament level, but okay. I have played so much competitive Marisa in Street Fighter 6. I've hit Platinum, which I know isn't Diamond, but it's something. Mm-hmm. It's something. Mm-hmm. And I feel good. But Tekken 8 is just out, and it's new and exciting. And for the bit, I'm like, let's go all in on Tekken.
Okay, now, side flash here. we've always talked and had our little Street Fighter, how do you do's, but there was, I believe, a moment where we got to mess around in Tekken at ComboCon, and I didn't know whether or not you had played it much. And after a couple games, I believe the quote was, "You didn't think I was that nice, did you?"
I didn't want to bring that up, just in case. But I think there was a fun moment. There's a fun moment where me and you were like, fairly even in Tekken, and you were playing as Steve, and I think I looked at you and I was like, "Whew, gonna have to switch to my main soon." And I think it kind of clicked with you there a little. Look, I have played a lot of Tekken.
That was.
There is multi-decade, multi-memory in there for me in Tekken. Okay.
When someone can pull out an out of the pocket, unmentioned, "Oh, by the way, I'm kind of nice at this fighting game. We just happen to never talk about it." That's I make note of that shit. That's good shit. I like that.
Yep. It was nice. It was nice for me because we've talked about fighting games a lot. I don't think you ever, with complete justification, I don't think you ever thought I could go.
Well, it just never came up. Yep. But no, you're kind of nice. You're kind of nice. Yeah.
So, I'm like, okay, let's start grinding Brian Fury as quickly as possible, and let's unleash in this tournament. Let's get in there and be like, okay, let's get some fucking W's and let's do this.
That's what I sent you in for. I want you to go in person and fucking have the experience, disrupt some shit.
Yeah, but Wooly, Reina is immediately my shit. And so I spend the entire week grinding Reina. I command list after command list after command list, match after match after match after match. I am on there every night getting my ranked matches in. I love Reina. Oh my god,
Dorias.
Yeah. Oh, fucking brilliant. And just to say as well, can we just for a second gush about how fucking awesome Tekken 8 is?
Yeah, I was definitely I talked about it a little bit last time, I want to say, but concerned. I was like, I hope the netcode is good.
I don't know. I don't remember if it was on air or not. We had a problem where so how unhyped are you for Tekken 8? And we were both like, very. And then that was before Reina's reveal.
Mm-hmm. I was at a place where I played. So there's the beta that the second to last beta had rough netcode. I couldn't play matches properly. It was just not great. We weren't confirming. It wasn't confirmed whether the rollback was properly set up and stuff. And then on top of that, I was like, where are the new characters? When you announce a new fighting game, you gotta have new characters as well. That's such a hype thing for people to get into. And it took a while before we got the reveal of Azucena, and now with Azucena and Victor and Reina, I'm like,
Victor's a little bit of a miss for me in that I just don't like fighting game characters who use weapons in martial arts tournaments.
He's a Noctis replacement.
Yoshimitsu is a exception.
Okay, he replaces Noctis, and there's a lot of people that are Noctis mains that needed that one.
Okay, I understand that. Mm-hmm. I understand that.
But
so I start getting a little mean as Reina. I start feeling her. She has some really fun mix-ups. She is not a character who is exceptional at close range. She doesn't have a whole lot of options. But the way you can fuck with people from mid and long range, beautiful. Love her. Okay.
Her punch buttons are Heihachi buttons, and her kick buttons are her own.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think she's such a fantastic character. So I decide I am entering the Lee side Tekken 8 tournaments.
Hell yeah.
I book my train. I book my hotel room because I want to basically go go there, and I don't want to go home in the same day. I want to try and hang out.
Okay.
I want to, like, you know, get to know people,
Okay.
like go for a drink,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I know the underside of this challenge was be social. Don't be a human train wreck, okay? I get it. I understand.
Meet the FGC.
Meet the FGC. I wanted to do it right, you know? It's a bank holiday weekend, so I can't get a train. I have to get a train and a bus to Cork. I have to pay bank holiday rates in the hotel. I pay €300 for a night in the hotel.
Okay. Oh my god.
I'm getting pissed. It sucks. I'm like, okay, this is fine. I have to crawl around a few Discords to find like the specifics. And then finally I find like my way onto the Leeside page. I register, I look at the time, and it's 7 p.m. Okay. So I'm going to get a dinner I'm going to arrive in Cork. I'm going to get an 8 a.m. train because all the trains are booked out. I get an 8 a.m. train to Cork. Michelle comes with me. Michelle's like, do you want me to like record some like B-roll of you like kind of after the competition? I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool, you know? So I get the train. I get there. We get to our hotel. It had been like, I'd had like a stream the night before. I was a little tired, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grab a nap. I grab a nap, and I wake up. And I'm getting in the fucking headspace for it. Wooly, I have the Killer Instinct 3 soundtrack on. I'm back to Rising it. I'm like holding an imaginary controller, like remembering my combos, remembering my situations, remembering my mix-ups. And I think at some point, it had maybe gotten around a bit that I was going to be at this event.
Had it.
So I open, yeah. So it's 4 p.m., 3 hours till the tournament. And I open up my phone and I start getting messages. Hey, where are you at? The tournament just started. That message is from 3 hours ago.
Oh, John, no. Oh.
I get down to Leeside and see a bunch of people carrying monitors out of a hall. And I'm like, no. And I go in and I talk to them and I'm like, are you guys the tournament organizers? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I am so sorry. I missed the tournament. And they are the nicest guys. They are so chill and they are so cool about it. But I did not get to compete. And I failed the challenge. Wooly. Me and Michelle are walking back. And you know what she does? She takes out the camera and she's like, let's record some B-roll, considering we came here for nothing.
God.
Would you like to see that footage, Wooly?
Damn it. Yes, please.
You know something else she said to me?
Uh-huh.
Wow, Wooly is getting a real crash course in what it is like to be around you in real life.
Oh my god, dude, you had one. You had one job.
I had one job. Okay, episode 1 of Versus Wolves, the premise. Episode 2, absolute failure.
What the fuck? Was it just
Okay.
wires crossed?
I can tell you what it actually is, Wooly, legit. And this sucks, and I hate saying it. I'm so dyslexic, dude. I am so fucking dyslexic. And numbers and things like that are very difficult. And I absolutely fucked this up. And it's not an it's not an excuse. It's just what happened.
You thought it was a different time.
I thought it was a different time. The 7 p.m. was, for some reason, they had when the tournament registration was closed, and it was 7 p.m.
Okay.
But I would like to announce on this podcast my official entry into the next Leaside Collective's Tekken 8 tournament. I will be there. It is the first Saturday of March.
Oh, yeah. A month from now.
A month from now, I will attend and I will report back. Wooly, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried so hard and I got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
I don't even need to hear your fucking... Okay. All right.
Do you need a minute?
Let me just get this sun out of my eye. I'm just
Okay.
Okay. Dude. Like... All right. Listen. Man... Effort, sure, right? Effort,
which we both agreed was the most important step.
I'm not gonna pretend that the idea of traveling quite a bit and actually staying overnight is not a big deal. That is effort. Effort has been put in. However, when you are standing at the pearly gates and they're taking account of your efforts, will that be enough? will the attempt be enough, or is it when we count up your sins, will you be found lacking? This is the question. You had an assignment. You made the effort. You did not participate in the tournament.
I did not. But I did attend a fighting game, and I did talk to people, and I think we got on well. I think we're friends.
John, if you had stepped in and said, you know what, I'm not going to participate, or I'm going to just float around, play some casuals, and talk to some people, and still be at the local, that would have been acceptable. But you completely missed it. And monitors were being dragged out. The event itself and the vibe I was hoping for you to experience ceases to exist as you arrive. It was not there. John, you have sinned. And for every sin, there must be a due balance on the other end of things.
Okay. But Wooly, before I accept this is fair. Would you like to see the footage Michelle recorded of me immediately after this event?
I would love to see it.
Okay. Let me just pull this out. Also, Wooly, you seem angry. Imagine being Michelle. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, trust. I'm getting that. The problem is I'm too busy making mental notes of how many steps it takes to make it from the bottom of the lift to the entryway to the cove of the cave in Fear and Hunger in the darkness, so that I can navigate around and across that bridge without any light. Going, oh, this is going to be worth it when we talk about it. It's this. So I'm not going to say that a tension did not start to build in my chest.
This fucking
as
sucks.
You described the Herculean efforts.
This fucking sucks, but boy, I hope the other end of this is worth it.
I'm so sorry.
We're pushing through.
You know how we know whenever we're around, like all my friends are like just like a little bit pissed off with me, like just all the time. This is why, and it's incredible to me that we have had the friendship we've had, and you have not encountered it. Everyone abandons me in the end, Wooly, and I get it. I get it.
We gave these things a clear month, knowing how busy we were, so that it would be like, all right, you've got like 4 weeks, 30 days to work this out. We can figure it. We can figure it out. God damn it. It's not your fault that a pandemic killed the locals. It's not your fault that like the setup for all of this required a lot more due diligence and all of that. But God damn it, you found one. You know, the chance was there. If you couldn't
have you ever seen like a sprinter get to the finish line in first place and then just fucking backflip and just drive their skull into the ground. Because that's what I did.
Oh my god. All right. Let's see.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Fox, you do your thing here. Okay, here we are. Seeing that?
So
I am seeing this.
here we are in Cork City.
Yep.
Evening light out ahead. What happened to us today?
We came down for me to compete in a fighting game tournament, and I got the time wrong, and now we're here like a couple of assholes.
Nothing to do.
Nope. How do you feel? What's it like being married to this, Michelle?
Chaos.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
A lot of energy lost.
Yeah, I know. I love you.
Yeah. How did you get the time wrong?
I'm really dyslexic. Is that a good answer? Is that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Still filming, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Michelle. Appreciate it.
What are we gonna do now?
We're gonna go back to our hotel and get shit-faced and try and forget that any of this happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. How do you feel? Okay, we're married for like 1 year at this point. How are you feeling?
It's just another day.
Okay. I think we can stop recording now. I think that's enough.
Okay.
So, Wooly.
No. I like how no, John. I like how you drop, looking like a couple of assholes as if there was a plural, as if there were any more than one.
Well, I mean, I think at this point it's the people like I cannot do. Look, clearly I cannot get my shit together. Okay, clearly. That has been evident for such a long time. So clearly, the responsibility falls onto those around me. Why do you think I bring Rebecca to cons, Wooly? You think it's because we're buds? You think it's because I have a nice time hanging out? I mean, we do, but it's mainly so I get out of fucking bed in the morning and that I don't die because I just stopped breathing. Okay? Is that what you want to hear?
How are we supposed to get this show done, man? How are we supposed to... It's episode 2! How are we supposed to do this?
I'll try harder.
All right.
But still, that effort, though.
Yeah, but...
Huh?
Those hands are dirty, and I don't know if you tried washing them or not, but they're not clean.
No.
The shadow remains cast.
I have defiled the sanctity of this podcast.
God, couldn't even get it off the fucking ground. Just launch and fucking fart noise.
Yeah, but March 2nd, Lee Side Collision at Cork City. Yeah. I'm gonna fucking be there. Sure. I'm taking first place in that Tekken tournament.
Sick. Hey, yo.
Me and Brian Fury are coming.
Uh-huh. Fill us in. Or don't. I don't know.
No, Wooly, I will. I want to be so clear. I am legit doing this. I am going with a minder who is going to get me there on time. This is gonna happen.
Okay. Well, This would be the part where we pull up the pantheon of greatness and throw on live fighting game tournaments onto the list. However, seeing as one did not occur,
so my entry is missing a fighting game tournament. So this is the thing. Me and Wooly are going to build a ranked list out of every recommendation, meaning that the two right now are Fear and Hunger versus missing a fighting game tournament.
Yeah, specifically Terror and Starvation at that. And right there in slot 2, I suppose, is missing a tournament.
Well,
can we?
I also think I did learn some things about myself, and like again, very impressive effort.
Can we?
on
Can
my
we
part.
just also just create the just extra detail there? You did sign up and register, right? In
Yes.
advance, so they did expect
Yes.
you. Therefore, your name was on the
Yes,
bracket.
yes, yeah. I did disrupt the tournament.
And therefore you did in fact go 0-2.
I guess so.
You went 0 wins, 2 losses, disqualified, and fucking out.
Yep.
So missing a tournament and going 0-2.
I don't know that we need to include that part.
I'm a stickler for details. I like details. Details are good. For future reference, we want to just have as much as we can on that. So
Can you imagine
we're gonna go ahead
if I attend the next fighting game tournament and also go 0-2, but in real life?
Oh, I can. Oh, I absolutely can. But until then, we'll put this here. Okay. All right. Well. Hey. Without much fucking further ado, then, huh? What is February going to look like?
Are we talking recommendations?
I think.
Are we talking recommend or
I
die?
think we are talking recommend or die, because failure or success, this is still the most powerful book club, even though it might be a little bit flaccid sometimes. You fake it till you make it. All right, let's go.
Okay.
What have you got?
Wooly, last time I sent you to hell. This time I sent you to heaven. Wooly, I recommend you a little game called Earthbound.
Oh my god! Oh fuck! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh wow! Okay. Oh.
Have you ever played Earthbound? Wooly?
No, I haven't. And it was, oh wow, okay.
What are you feeling? What are you feeling? Talk me through it.
It's because I've talked about wanting to LP it, and I never did. And I always considered it, but it was one of these things where I remember I was like, okay, let's check the length. It could be doable. And then there was a couple times where a couple people said, like, a lot of people have already done that game and LP'd it in such a way where I don't know if you'd be adding anything to the conversation necessarily. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. But
I think that's an extremely reductive way to look at it. I don't think you need to. Like, I would see it a bit more in a video essay,
That's I felt similarly, but that is what I did hit on that. I was like, okay, well, nonetheless, I do want to know, because I have heard about how great Mother 3 is, and I do want to scratch that itch someday. So
Wooly, I'm going to admit, this might be the jab setting up for the cross.
Okay, we're doing it like this. Okay. And this is how we're playing it. We're reaching into future potential things that I had planned.
I'm not saying
and we're yanking
anything
it up
for certain. I guess so. I mean, look, to me, Wooly, that's your problem.
Yeah,
maybe
okay.
you could come back and next episode and be like, you know what? I decided to not play it. But who would ever not complete a challenge?
I tried and I failed to play it. In fact, I put the time aside and I popped it in and I booted it, and then somehow I couldn't press start. Okay. This is interesting. I did not. Wow. Okay, we're throwing them in. We're throwing them in hard. And last time you did definitely kind of. There was a bit of a like, give it your best shot. Let's see what's up. And I came back with what I came back with. And I feel as if now it's like, oh, you're throwing a full experience on the table. You're throwing a full, like, this isn't a sampler pit. You don't want an appetizer. You're looking for.
So what I would say, Wooly, and like to everyone who's like going to like follow along with us here, I would encourage you to play this in a way that you are like most likely to get maximum enjoyment. You don't have to beat it. You don't have to like get that far in it. But there is Earthbound is a vibes game. It is a game that you put on and sink into. I want you to experience that.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. How I tackle this is going to be huge. This is a big deal. And I'm going to have to think about that because with Fear and Hunger, I said I'm going to just do this in my corner and I'll report back when I have something to say or don't with no promises whatsoever. It might not be the same case this time around, but I'm not sure. I'm going to have to think about this because I did want to play through this game. Let's play through this game, that is.
Go for it.
Oh, shit. Okay. Why? It's kind of crazy. You're creating, all right.
No, what were you going to say?
No, the expectations, I think, are maybe I'm being a little too nice, Maybe I'm being a little, anyways, it's fine. What's set is set. What's done is done. Last time around, I came with some energy of what it was and then was forced to reach a little further down and pull it back up. I still have that energy and I still have that desire and I want you to enjoy things, but at the same time, sin, right? So here's what's up.
Okay.
I have my recommend.
Okay.
But then something needs to be done to atone.
Recompense must be made
for what has occurred. So we'll get to that in a second.
Yep. Okay.
For your recommend, I would like you to read a comic book.
Okay.
It's called Saga. Have you read or heard of Saga? Oh my god damn it. Fucking hell. I swear to God, I'm being too nice. He's going to get a copy. Yep. Of course.
Volume 11, baby! Combo Breaker!
Why am I being so nice? I don't know. Okay. All right. Well, it's pretty fucking good, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Things have gone catastrophically wrong.
Because of course they should. One bad turn deserves another.
Yep.
But
your boy can't stop being a human disaster. And we might have lost my video file for this episode.
It's look, we're growing pains. We're learning, we're coming through it. Take that L is not just a loss, it's also a lesson. Hold that L, right?
That's beautiful. That's
there you
really,
go.
That genuinely hopeful. Wooly, I do believe you were about to make your recommendation for this week.
I was.
You were.
I was. I didn't make it yet. I was about to make my recommendation. So, as we were saying, by the way, just off chance, but how fucking sick is Saga, right? Pretty good book anyway. Whatever.
Wait, no, hang on. Wait, no. Wooly already got combo broken. Wooly already got combo broken.
Nothing happened.
You fucker.
I was about to make my recommendation, John. Let me make my recommendation. We got cut off. Videos messed up. Who knows? I don't know. My videos here is fine. I'm recording okay. I didn't see what happened. No one did. What's going on? I got a recommendation to make. Are you ready for it?
Sure.
Good. All right. I'd like you to play a game.
Okay.
The game is called Inscription. Are you familiar with Inscription?
Wooly. Counterbreaker! So, just to pull back the veil, Wooly recommended the comic saga, got combo broken. He has now recommended Inscription, got counter broken. Meaning, Wooly, you got one shot left, buddy.
Okay. All right. Fuck. Yeah.
Hey, Wooly, you don't become a video essayist by going outside, okay?
Okay. All right. This might need to get a little more complicated. There might be some layers to this shit.
Okay.
But should this be about hatred?
No, I
Because it's not that hatred is what I'm experiencing or anything. That's not what I want to share.
Wooly, you're frightening me.
That's not where I want to go. I legitimately want to recommend good things. I want you to play things that we will have a good time talking about.
Hooray!
Maybe even watch things that you'd enjoy. But I'm feeling like my hands are forced in such a way that I don't want to make you play Omicron the Nomad Soul. That's not what I want to do. I'm not that kind of person. That's
a relief. Yeah, for a second there, I thought that's what you were recommending. That's
a super fucked up thing to do. But
Whew.
But that's, I don't.
What?
I'm being backed into a corner. I don't know what to. John.
Wooly.
I'm trying.
Wooly.
I tried.
Wooly.
John, I tried.
Wooly.
John,
Wooly.
I tried. John, I tried. I gave it an earnest shot. I really tried. Effort.
Wooly.
I gave it an effort. I wanted you to
Wooly,
experience.
it's not even. It's
John.
Wooly, it's the bad David Cage game. The bad David Cage game.
I tried to share good things. You denied those things.
Oh, Inscription! Oh,
I don't know. I tried to share things. You did not want them. You've rejected.
It's not that I love both those things. Saga, the little girl with the wings, she's great. Lion Cat.
I didn't think I was this kind of person. I would never on Another Soul want to inflict the David Cage, but I don't know where else we have to go. What with you forcing my hand? I think my recommendation, and I'm so sorry for this, but it's really not who I want to be. Omicron, the Nomad Soul.
You understand that once you do this, Wooly, you will be starting this podcast down a path from which we can never return.
John, I tried to swerve us away from this immediately and let the record show that every single time that I did, it didn't work. And
what I'm hearing from you, Wooly, is that your desire not to go to a level 3 counter breaker is stronger than your love for our friendship.
I have a couple of save files on Fear and Hunger that say otherwise, John.
Okay.
And with that, the recommendation is clear.
Okay.
But not the punishment. The punishment, we have to cleanse these sins, I believe. Is what we were saying.
Yes, I understand.
All right, we'll keep it simple. All right? Omicron is a burden. It's a burden, and I don't drop it lightly. It really, you understand. So
It's not even Fahrenheit.
it's not even Fahrenheit, and Detroit would be too much of a good time. Let's be real. Let's be real. No, it's not Beyond Two Souls. Oh, did you play Omicron: The Nomad Soul?
Never. No.
Okay,
I've not played it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Just checking.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay.
Look, your punishment's simple. In fact, I just want you to watch a movie.
Okay. I could watch a movie.
Yeah. The movie's called RRR. Have you heard of RRR?
I have watched the first 7 minutes of RRR and thought, wow, this seems like an incredibly good time. I need to watch the rest of this movie. Awesome. Okay.
Rise, Roar, Revolt. RRR.
Okay, and we're back. It's okay. Everything's fine. Yep.
I want you to watch this movie. It's a Tollywood masterpiece. It's great. It has all kinds of shit in it that I love, including another classic. Singham, the actor who played Singham, is in the. It's right. Watch the movie. If you already kind of know a little bit about what you're getting into, all the better.
No, this sounds fantastic. I can't wait to watch this.
This will cleanse the palate a little bit. I heard you inhale as if I were done, but that's not what's happening here, John.
Okay.
I want you to watch the movie. I want you to enjoy it because you know what? It's fucking great. It's such a good time.
Yeah, this isn't a punishment. This is great.
I would like you to pay extra special attention to the dance number that occurs somewhere through this movie. It's a very catchy song. It's very, very catchy. It's a good song.
That sounds exciting.
There's a lot of music in the movie that's wonderful, but there's a particular dance number, and you'll know it when you see it. Pay extra close attention, because the next time you and I are in the same physical space at the same time, we are going to perform this number.
What the fuck?
And if you know the movie, you know the one.
Okay, I accept my punishment.
Okay.
All
right.
Wow. This podcast sure has gone places.
If you know the one, if you know, then you know.
Okay, I can't wait to see this. Jesus Christ. Okay. I can't believe episode 1 was, here's some cool things we like. Episode 2, cataclysmic failure. We have an official strip club. We're calling the Good Guys Club the official versus Wolf strip club, right?
They gave us merch.
Okay. Wooly, I don't know what this podcast is.
I don't know either. I did not expect this to happen.
Okay. Okay, cool. See you in 1 month, I guess.
I guess I'll see you in a fucking month, John.